another Moses. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Say, Allah, 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 eh. Day now break, everybody on the hustle. Some people know like peace, they want some trouble. Crime rates on the increase. The government can protect the people. Hold up, no justice for the poor. Yeah, look the way we're living. We're treating one another unfair. Look the way we're living. We're treating one another unfair. Look the way. What's the hope for the future? What's the hope for the future? What's the hope for the future? The hope for the future. Yeah. We have everything in abundance, but we die and rot and breathe. We pray, asking the Lord for another Moses, cause all we have is pharaohs. Yeah. In our suffering, it's what they're making business out. Yeah. The rich get richer and the poor people suffer. Them promise say, them bring development and better education. Our lands are fertile, no food on the land. Our children, we're pushing it to back. Look the way we're living, we're treating one another unfair. Look the way we're living, we're treating one another unfair. What's the hope for the future? What's the hope for the future? What's the hope for the future? The hope for the future. Our forefathers were taken into slavery, but in a modern time like this, we're children and slaves. We're fighting a war not with guns and bullets. The enemies I see are my brothers and my sisters. We're diggers of graves while we're still living. Don't judge a book by its covers. Looks can be deceiving. Whenever the sun shines, must come a rain. Who will come and take away the pain? Look the way we're living, we're treating one another unfair. Look the way we're living, we're treating one.
Happy Wednesday to all of you around the world.
What's the hope?
This Peabody, she says she's following all the way from Saclay, Nima County.
What's the hope?
Also, those of you that are following from far and near, we want to welcome all of you to the closing argument.
What's the hope?
Another special day to be here.
What's the hope for the future?
We can only be grateful to be alive.
The hope for the future.
Our only hope is for the future to be better for Mama Liberia, Liberians, and Liberia and around the rest of the world. Folks, it's the 28th day of August 2024, and nothing has changed yet in my country.
Yeah.
Folks, as you join us, do us a favor, do due diligence, share the show. Invite somebody, tell somebody else. The closing argument is right here. Darlington Delapierre, welcome to the show, boss man.
Day now break, everybody on the hustle.
Matthew Dole, welcome to the show. And the man Christian Robert.
They want some trouble.
I got no complaints, Christian Robert. I'm just grateful to be alive.
Government can protect the people.
No justice for the poor in Liberia because the government cannot protect the people. Those are the words of the legendary Quincy B.
The way we're living, we're treating one another unfair. Look the way we're living, we're treating one another unfair. What's the hope for the future? What's the hope for the future? What's the hope for the future? The hope for the future.
What's the hope for the future?
We have everything in
We have everything in abundance.
Die and rot and breed. We pray, asking the Lord for another Moses, cause all we have is Pharaoh.
We pray asking God for Moses, but all we get are Pharaoh.
Suffering is what they're making business out. Yeah.
For those of you who are religious, you know what it means when one say you ask for Moses and you get Pharaoh.
Them promise say,
you know who Pharaoh was like in the Bible.
And better education. Our lands are fertile, no food on the land. Our children, we're pushing into begging. Look the way we're living.
Since some of you don't even follow when some of the comments and statements are being made. A couple days ago, organized bet. We came out here and made it clear. Okay. We stated clearly to the folks that we have been consistently been inconsistent due to time constraints in our personal lives that we have, of course. And we simply say we are trying to make the needed adjustment. And that's why you see me here at this time of the day. We started but last week or earlier this week, being here at 5 o'clock, and that is the scheduled time. But due to the fact that just like you and other people, you have personal lives, but because of our desire to make sure that we do what is needed for the Liberian people, so we volunteer our services. So when you're talking about inconsistency, we have acknowledged that we have been inconsistent to some extent. But, you know, just as much as you will want to point out the level of inconsistency, maybe you should also point out your shared responsibility to share the show and invite other people to be a part of the process, not to only point out our fault. We have acknowledged that we have been inconsistent, and that is not in the best interest of those of you who follow, those of you, our viewers. There's no doubt about it. We acknowledge that, we realize that, and we're doing our best to work on it. But remember, everybody who sits on this platform is, you know, a family man or a woman. They have their individual responsibilities. They have to feed their families. All right. We are not being sponsored by any government or official or other institution besides you, the people who will sometimes volunteer here to give us donations to maintain the platform and, you know, support the guys back home. We have no other means. So we have to go to work to feed our family and contribute to the maintenance of this platform. But we appreciate your input as well. Nevertheless, let us not only get with that, but let's do our part. Share the video, invite other people as well. Your view is highly appreciated, and it is taken in good faith, but I just thought to let you know that.
Yeah. Say, I love, eh.
John Saki Conan and family, thank you for being a part of today's podcast. We are coming to you again
everybody on
several radio stations in Liberia.
Some people know like peace. They want some trouble. Crime rates on the increase. The government can protect the people. Hold up. No justice for the poor.
There's no justice for the poor.
Yeah. Look the way we're living. We're treating one another unfair. Look the way we're living. We're treating one another unfair. Look the way we're living. What's the hope for the future? What's the hope for the future? What's the hope for the future? The hope for the future. Yeah. We have everything in abundance, but we die and rot and breed. We pray, asking the Lord for another Moses, cause all we have is Pharaohs. Yeah. In our suffering is what they're making business out. Yeah. The rich get richer and the poor people suffer. Them promise say, them bring development and better education. Our lands are fertile, no food on the land. Our children, we're pushing into begging. Look the way we're living, we're treating one another unfair. Look the way we're living, we're treating one another unfair.
Oh, look at the way we're living.
What's the hope?
We are treating one another unfair. What's the hope for the future? When once we think we're about to elect a Moses, then a pharaoh come out of a Moses.
Our forefathers were taken into slavery, but
It's people's choice. You are absolutely correct.
fighting no
Gloria Musu Scott walk sky free.
enemies I see are my brothers and my sisters. We're diggers of graves while we're still living. Don't judge your book by its covers. Look,
Studio, if you will please get yourselves ready. Put your phones together, and we will be starting off today's conversation with the voice of the people, and we will start hearing from them. We will open up the phone lines to give people's reactions to the verdict or the decisions of the Supreme Court. So if you could please, whoever's in studio tonight, please do us that favor. Come on and prepare your phone lines to open up the phone lines. Let's hear from the people. What is their reaction to the Supreme Court's decision?
hope for the future. What's the hope for the future? What's the hope for the future? The hope for the future. Yeah. Hope for the future. Yeah. Oh,
Daniel Tayuwe watching all the way from Buchanan, Grand Bassa County. Daniel T. Tayuwe. He said he's following all the way from Buchanan, Grand Bassa County. Thank you for being here, folks. We want to welcome all of you as always. It's always an honor and a pleasure to have you here as we get ourselves ready and in preparation to continue the rest of the podcast with the rest of the hosts, panelists in studio. I want to welcome you to the closing argument. As often said, I'm Lofa Julius, your humble servant, coming to you live from the people city of Raleigh, the state of North Carolina. Beautiful weather over here. Great day at work. I wish the same was for you wherever you're joining us from. Today is the 28th day of August 2024, and we are right back here to do the people's job. Joining me already is the man Sylvester Peewee, one of our panelists in studio already. Sylvester, welcome to the show, Bus Man. Let's hear from you. How you doing? How's the family? How's everybody doing? Working, everything?
I'm good. I'm doing good, and everyone is okay. And great to hear that your great city already is doing good also.
Definitely the same.
As one of those major swing terrain that we will be looking at come November. Uh, I hope your vote, your one vote will make the change on behalf of your kid, because I understand it is.
Don't put me in the politics.
You the political
Oh, it's good to be here. It's good to be here.
But on a serious note, it's good. Good to be back. I know today, the fact that it's actually putting part of your opening song will tell you today you prepared to know justice for the poor. When you find yourself in a terrain that where in the justice system actually is a major challenge, and all of our major development partners, even our major traditional partner, the USA, time to time hit high on the judicial system. This openness system is somehow. But again, I'm one person. But we're going to take time to go into the show, because this is a very, very critical and very, what I want to call a dedicated process today to this development coming out of Liberia. Yeah, you're playing the late Quincy B. son.
Right.
Justice, no justice for the poor, and the rest of that. Of course, in the kind of a terrain we'll find ourselves. But it's, we hope to take time to balance what unfolded today. But on a serious note, it's a sad. I want to believe it's a very gloomy day for the parents of the late Charles Mosu and other line. And again, for the justice system, we'll take time to go into it. But the process is a very quiet, but very hot day for my end. Very terribly hot. So, but again, we hope to dive into the show and interact with the people and interact with the major development unfolding from our country and the mix of the politics back home.
Right. Let's see if we can get the guys in studio. We want to start today's show with the reaction from the people on ground. We want to open up the phone lines and make sure that we can take some calls. We want to get people's reaction to two critical news that just came out today. One would be the Gloria Musu Scott, the verdict or the decision from the Supreme Court, if one would say. And of course, we also want to hear about the 20 something million that was deposited in the bank in Ghana. What do people make of it? What is their reaction? And then we will get, once the panelists get in here, we will discuss that in detail based on our understanding. So
Yeah,
this,
Julia, you're talking about 20 million on deposited for what?
well, it's our government deposited. Let me see if I can get the article here. It was actually it was deposited in Ghana. The let me just read the article in its totality. While we wait for the guys in studio to please come on, so we can open up the phone lines. And those of you in the diaspora who may like to chime in on the conversation, I can make a number available for you. If you guys are interested in chiming in on this conversation, just to make sure. Let me find that article here for you. I'm trying to find that article here. Um, yeah, it was according to the story. I guess it is back two ways, two forward in the story. One is saying that the government deposited the money in Ghana because they did not have transportation to get the uh to get the okay, here you go. Let me read it for you. It says Ghanaian MP raises red flag. Did Central Bank of Liberia ship US 20 million to Ghana? The story reads, it said Monrovia Samuel Okodizelu Alabrakwa, a member of the Ghanaian parliament, has raised concern regarding a shipment of US 20 million allegedly sent by the Central Bank of Liberia to Ghana to be kept in the bank. Again, they said to be kept in the Bank of Ghana vault until an available flight can transport the money to Liberia. The parliamentarian review on Facebook and X, formerly Twitter, a letter written by Mr. Ivan Okeye Ado, a member of the currency management department at the Bank of Ghana, addressed to the assistant commissioner of the Ghanaian Revenue Authority, Custom Division, seeking permission to clear uncirculated banknote, a Kotoka International Airport, KIA. So, in short, according to this article that was published by the Liberian investigator, clearly states that our government, or the bank, decided to deposit 20 million United States dollars in the Bank of Ghana. For whatever reason, I am yet to know. But I think response from the central bank states that is a normal thing. It's okay. They have been doing it in the past, and it's a continuation of what they do. Whether our bank are not adequately equipped to protect that amount of money, are we not able to have a kept in the bank at the central bank and be able to do whatever needs to be done with it. But I would just like to hear from the people. Again, these are the kind of things that happen. I remember when President Weah government came to power, the story or the narrative about the 16 billion or whatever missing amount of money that happened, and going forward, there was so many other stories. Here we are talking about $20 million from the people's coffer. This is embarrassing. This is horrific. But again, there is no justice for the poor. Folks, I'm going to open up the phone lines here. Hopefully, we can get with the guys in studio in Liberia. Let me try to get with the guys in studio in Liberia to hopefully get us on the lines in Liberia and start the entire process with taking phone calls. But anyway, so Peewee, that is the story. I think it's in the chat room. You can read it in detail if you want, but that is the story.
Yes, but again, with that process, we have, and I want to say, there's this normal process that we do transport money into the country. There are a lot of from different reasons, but a lot of different companies that will transport money in the country, and the pattern of money coming over to Ghana and or Abidjan, flying eventually into the country. Yeah, that's a normal standard that will unfold. So we would just have to wait for the central bank to give the particular explanation behind this amount of money. The money we have different reasons why those money will come. Are these legit money? Of course. The process is that those money will go through the different means. Now I don't know the details, and first and foremost, the report coming out. What I would say to that is it's a normal process. It do happen. Because listen, we don't have money, we don't manufacture money in the country. Particularly when we bring in shuttle US dollar, when there's a need to bring US dollar into the country, it will have to come from the proper means, and then we have to be appropriated on. Now, if the money came in, it was in transit in Ghana, and that amount of money cannot be outside kept. So we have to basically the host country we have to protect some level of they'll provide storage for the said money. So again, and that's one of the reasons why sometimes we have to wait and catch the team. So the articles, the institution writing the article were not even guilty of, they didn't even inform folks that that's a normal process that will unfold. But now they will have to first and foremost now reach out back to the Central Bank of Liberia, and the Central Bank will explain. So I want to go back more or less deep into that process, but I know it's something that can happen. I wouldn't want to say it's corruption. I wouldn't want to say, oh, this is that something or something about that. So my own take on this process is that, yeah, it's a routine process. And part of this routine process is that we have to follow up now to say, if that money, if there's no basic justification for that, then we can run into different conclusions. For now, I would want to take it from this language. I'll go deeper and say, hey, this is the intent of this, while I haven't gotten the rest of the story. So, yes, it's a process that we do airlift money into our country. It has been happening many years ago. It will continue to happen. Our generation, the next generation, we don't manufacture US dollar in the country, so we have to come from outside in the country. But we have to. The means that we have to come. That's why most often you will see security escort for the RRA. There will be a lot of police, well-armed police officers will escort those money as they land in the country. Yes, it's a process that will happen through a very legitimate means. Yeah. So basically,
All right. Well, while the guys in studio prepare themselves, because I can see them, it appears that they were caught off guard. They're still trying to work things out. While we wait for them to open up the phone lines and get themselves ready, um, let's just continue to recognize quite a few people here. Benjamin Jonah, thank you for following. Helena Wilson, Aliyu Kamara, Sarah Dopo, Julinho, Kwame, welcome to the show. All of you. Ruben Conan is watching from Gardnersville. Wow, you're watching from Gardnersville, my birth city. You know, I was born in Gardnersville, to be specific, Chocolate City. So yeah, I have one of my own people out here. But guys, if you're in studio and you're ready, let us know so that we can open up the phone line. Henry, are you ready to get us to take some calls? Henry, are you ready to take some calls?
Harry seems to be mute.
He,
Okay.
Yes, it is actually good to be back. We're doing some technical adjustment from our end,
I
so
figured.
it took us a little while to come on the radio while we're doing the technical adjustment. But again, it's actually good. And then yeah, we
Okay.
can take some calls, like you said.
Thank you. Yeah, let's take some calls. We want to get the people's reaction to the Supreme Court decision today. What do they make of it? What do people think about the decision to allow Madam Gloria Musu Scott to walk today? So is the issue here does Charlotte she ending up as just a victim, and at the end of the day there will be no justice for her, like Quincy B said in his song, no justice for the poor. What becomes of us? Let's hear from the people back home. Let's take some calls.
And I tell you, so you've been following up closely, and then it's now time you place in your call to 077017635 777017635. They get the reactions as it relates to The ruling on today from the Supreme Court on the global Moses Cup issue 0777017 635 077285961. These are the two numbers to call, and they're going to be live here tonight on the closing argument on the 28th day in the month of August, and the year stands at 2024, the midweek edition of the closing argument. This program comes away at about this time from Monday, Wednesday, and Friday here on the Renaissance Radio 96.12 FM. 077285961 So that get to the phone line to the very first caller. Hello.
Yeah, good evening.
How are you? You guys are getting?
Yes.
Your name from where you doing us?
Yeah, I'm back in Rwanda. I'm calling from Auto Justice.
From Albert Johnson Faye.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, I was very shy today for our country. 23, I came our country that will be honored today, tomorrow. Those are the kids that are coming on. We didn't know what to get that future for all. Whether it will be or pay by time, somebody will pay that one not there, or I'm going to pay my one not there. We don't know. I will get view the whole show just now on the social media. I will listen the whole program today. I mean, I don't know what to tell my next friend. What will be the head of that drum? But we'll pray for our country.
Okay, thank you so kindly. 077785961 to this caller. Hello. How are you? Name from where you join us? You guys are getting?
No, have that caller raise their voice. No.
Okay. Go ahead. You getting me?
Better.
From Soul Clinic. Your name? Make your point.
You know, it's so sorry. Brother, I want to appreciate people. It's so sorry that today this kind of job today. You know, for me, if you look at our kids, when the time they put up that thing that the generation go to the service and tell you that on behalf of the government, we are sorry. It was so sorry. No one should bring the judges. The good on this day supposed to stand for that lady that was killed. But every state cannot protect all, but the state is protecting their interest. There's no issue. You can blame the judges for it. It's just sorry.
Okay. It is actually sad. 077785961 to this caller. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
How are you? Name from where you join us? Please be audible a bit.
Hello.
How's Maggie B?
Yes, okay.
Make your point.
Concerning the case today, my show here, today, I don't like to do all the things they have been like Bureau or the father, all the cases. But today, I did not case the way they Supreme Court and you hold and you turn on and free the people. I don't like to do today, really dangerous for me because for the beginning of that case, you know, I follow that case on the media, I follow that case. That one of the cases I really put myself on for the end. If you really look at that issue, when that murder took place, there was nobody intruding into that one. Nobody intruding into that one. What was there no sufficient evidence? No sufficient evidence? Then again, she just died and you know, the just was free, no justice for her, and then she only will go to
and I tell you, God going to fight a battle so certain, but that's the world we are living in. So it also shows that, and then it brings me to the point wherein what becomes of those of our parents who don't have money, but then their children at times leave the interior to come to the city to stay with people. If for anything such incident will occur, what become of them? Will justice prevail on their behalf? So these are some of the things we should be looking at also as a citizen.
I was just telling my brother, as you see, for us we can be very, very careful in Liberia because something if they think it happen, these are kids I follow. I was just telling you, these are the kids I really want to see the climate and go to see how it happens. I was just telling you, with the least privileged people in Liberia right now, you gotta be very, very careful.
Okay, thank you. We'll be careful about them. It is also a warning shot to our parents. So this caught up. Hello.
Yeah, how you doing? This is how you do. I'm calling from Firestone.
From Firestone.
Yeah.
Make your point.
It's so sad that we have that kind of decision made that is something good. But whatever the case was political, it's strong political, not political. Yeah, family was crazy. In Nigeria, man died, Nigeria, father, and sister died. The rest got our sister. You said, I'm going to police party, or the unity party must police party. When the family people go, you will know how to handle it. If you sit down there, they be looking at it, be making a flower. You can't do that thing to people. The reason why the law could deem it necessary that real guy should be here responsible for that case was that in the first instance, the law, when that crime was committed, the first person should call a lawyer. When you are victimizing the case, you don't call your lawyer, you call government because anybody who falls victim to certain things are protected by the government. So in the wisdom of the lower court, why should you be calling upon your lawyer if you don't have anything to hide? They say you did something wrong, you will be calling your lawyer to hide something. That's why the law thinks that she's supposed to be held liable. But if you put it this out, no problem. Any family people go, they will talk in their house while they're grieving. Then I just we have somebody.
Okay. Thank you so kindly. So let's call up. Hello. How are your name from where you join us? We are not getting you.
My name is
From Mount Barclay. Imam, make your point.
Yeah, I just want to tell you guys this. But you know, for the first and the fourth thing I did, I was praying. Yeah. That's all. I'm not going to so, man, you want to do everybody. You can't even be president. So, I'm not going to president. You can't keep me. Yeah, so that's
Okay, thank you so kindly, Emmanuel. We are not getting you too clear. To this caller. Hello. Your name from where you join us?
yeah. No, my name is Mania and Apple from Panelists Estate Market.
From Banafé Estate. Make your point.
Yeah. Yes, thank you. You know, today just it has shown that bro not going anywhere. It means that this has penetrated even to the judicial system of the or to be again, he proved it down again in tears. So it means that everything that we are government did, they have not trust anything about your government. That was a case, and those are sent to jail, which means they are not the best lawyer or best judges. All of them are telling us, it's not possible to jail and you say you pay the person for jail, say, oh, he filed the case, you want to clear, no evidence whatsoever. Then, my brother is very, very shaggy. We're going nowhere. Thank you.
And I tell you, we are going nowhere because. To this caller. Hello.
Hello.
Your name from where you join us? Your name?
My name is Buffwe, and I'll call you from GSA Room.
GSA Road. Make a point.
Thank you. You know, for me, I'm not surprised that the case ended the way it ended today. Mind you, at the time the lady was convicted, the people that prosecuted or the people that served as a film for her today were the people that were celebrating her or were defending her at that time in somewhere in 2023, 2022. So now they have come to power, so you expect for it to happen like that. So let's say, for example, you and myself are supporting certain thing. And I said, no, this man cannot do this. Then time come, I become the one that will sort of prosecute you. Obviously, you already, I don't know, it's just a walk in the park. So for me, I was not surprised at all when I heard that indeed she was not found guilty. She set free because there's no evidence. Why you like, now let me be very careful. The court did not say, in my own opinion, that she did not do it. The court is saying there's no sufficient evidence to link her to it. So now what we need to do now is, I think what the government to do, the government should not allow the case to have to sleep. We should all fight to look for the killer of that little girl. So we need to go and find sufficient evidence and go to it for me. I think that what we should do. That's my point.
Okay. That's your point. 07778 5961 777 5961 is the number to call to make a point here tonight on the closing argument on the Renaissance Radio 96.12 FM. Today's call up. Hello? Oh, we lost that call up.
So for those of you in the diaspora who wants to call, we do have the WhatsApp number, and of course we do have a local line number. You can dial 919-614-0885 if you want to contribute to the conversation. Again, the number is 919-614-0885. That is the number to contribute. If you already have the WhatsApp number, go ahead. That number is 919 I gotta take it 324-6828. 919-324-6828. WhatsApp 919-614-0885. That is the local or actual number to call in if you would like to chime in on the conversation. What do you make of the Supreme Court's decision today? The verdict is out. Who's to be blamed? Who's not to be blamed? Is there justice for the poor? Let's go ahead, Henry. Take more call, please.
777-28 5961 077-28 59 077-017635 077-17635.
Let's take this caller here. Caller, your name and where you calling from. Let's hear from you.
Hey, Julius, how you doing, man? I'm calling from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Your name, sir?
My name is Jesus.
Let's hear from you, boss man.
This is a sad day today for Mama Liberia. The whole Charlotte kid is reconnected. How do you expect the government that's supposed to put up a strong case? Some of the laws like Babylon was taken from the prosecutor arm of the government and put people that was so dumb. So we shouldn't blame the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court just doesn't listen to argument. And the government is supposed to say, they wasn't saying anything. This is a sad day, man. This is a sad day.
Thank you.
Just for the poor lady for 9 months just went being saved.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you for your contribution. Let's see if we got some calls in from Liberia. Let's take some calls from those of you in Liberia. We want to focus on Liberia a lot more so that we can get
777-176 728 59 61 077-28 51 777-017635. These are the two numbers to call, and they're going to be live here on the closing argument on the Renaissance Radio 96, but on the midweek edition of the closing argument here for you today. 077-28 59 61 077-28 59 61 077-017635. Today's caller. Hello. How are you? Name from where you join us?
Calling you from Western residence, Jakarta.
Okay, Abraham, make your point.
You see, with regards to this ruling given by the Supreme Court, they are the highest decision-making body. But the only thing for us, for me, I can say is that as a citizen, we all got to think of what President Williams said before we got vexed. He said everybody should need their own security. The judgment reminds me of what he said. And everybody got that we need our own security. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, everybody should be their own security. 077-0176-35 777-2859-61. To this caller, hello?
Hello?
Any from where you join us?
I'm going to work from Jonesville.
From Josephville, make a point.
People that are getting comments, the thing is that we're going to
we are not getting. You have to find a better position. We are not getting you clear.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Okay. Don't expect the 30 ministers that in current power now. But anything that will come out of them that will be, in the interest of the president. Even the anti-corruption they are talking about, even the whatever they are talking about, working corruption, this and that, for nothing. Nothing. The people will not even expect anything from election state in the country for now. This is what I'm talking about. Once we got those citizens my culture of them are in power, is the speaker are there, nothing good will come out of any system for now. Nothing.
Okay. Thank you so kindly. 077-2859 is the one to this caller. Hello?
Good evening, my brother.
How are you, sir? Your name from where you join us?
I'm Jeff Freeman calling from Johnsonville.
Okay, Freeman. Make a point.
You see what happened to justice. Some people look at it a different way. When this thing happened, I know that the woman will be acquitted. You see, if you raise a child for you to kill a child, for what reason, I don't know. What happened? The woman went in jail. They said there was no intruder mark. And today, justice is saying there was no sufficient evidence for the woman to be accused of killing her own daughter. Then people are putting blame on, the person is in power, this and that. Why is it politics? They said there was no intruder mark. Okay, we agree.
Okay.
Today, justice is saying the lawyer has based their case. The lawyer then acquitted this woman. That there is no sufficient evidence to prove that this woman killed her own daughter. You know, when people can look at it, it is a sad thing, like this and that. When the woman was going to jail, everybody was happy that she killed her own child. You see the kind of thing? You see how human beings look? You raise a child, and the child is about to graduate from higher university to do something for you. Then you kill her, yourself. Everybody was happy for her to go in jail because she bear poverty justice. Then the law tell right and say, no, there is no sufficient proof. Then they say that somebody else, somebody has stepped inside this and that. Well, that's how Liberia look.
Okay.
Let's think about it.
Thank you so kindly. 077-2859 is the one to this caller. Hello?
Yeah, hello.
Please be audible. Your name from where you join us?
Yeah, this is
From Paco Pint. Make your point.
Yeah, I just want to say that, like, bro, we'll finish. Because if you can see reality, for the two humans, when you put on our lawyers, the enemy use their own ways to try to analyze on their own thinking. They came over there. You know, they did for some people who come out and why do we say there are not sufficient proof? And the question is that there are not sufficient proof. Then what kill again? I won't kill her.
Henry, let's take 4 more calls. Let's take 4 more and then we'll call it.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so kindly for following. 077-2859 is the one. 777-2859 is the one. So let's call up. Hello?
Yeah, hello.
How are you? And from where you join us?
Yeah, my name is Sean. I'm calling from
But that's fine. Make your point.
Yeah, it was easier for me, not supposed to be, you know. It started almost in the Jamaica, and it's still everybody go away, it's killing people. And when you're getting you go pretend to Alaka, it's in the way. And it reminds me when President William said, former President William said, the judicial children welcome us at the government. And we think that to be true. But if the time everything goes in meeting on, in our everything goes in now, then you need one our Guar and our strong partisan United Party, I don't care where it goes, that will come all of it. And they go sit there, they put their friend. That's the right thing. And they say that the right thing to be President Baga amended. The people will suspend it. And we see the oil around, they'll suspend it. The only one known, I don't come all of it.
Okay.
So that's our point.
Thank you so kindly. 077-28-59-61. To this caller. Hello.
Hello,
I'm doing okay. You have to dress away from your radio.
yes, and then in my to
Okay, make a point.
Yes, I just want to make a clarity on what happened today. It shouldn't be explained to the Liberian people, and it shouldn't be explained to the terror around the world. We all sitting in Liberia where we have a lot of warlords, I kill a lot of people, and yet then the national election gives them the ability to run an election, and they are running within the government. So why are we not fighting on that? Or someone that we killed just recently is what we are focusing on. So why were all of those are killed thousands of people? We are not seeking justice for them.
Okay.
So let me tell you, the Bible lets us to know that if you kill an animal, you should drain the blood out of the animal before eating it, because the blood carries the life. So if you kill a human being who was not spoken by God, was said, let there be human being, or who was not spoken by God, say, oh, as you find human being, it was God trying to take his own time to create human being. And you kill this person, even though the blood of that person will speak for them.
Okay.
So we shouldn't be fighting for here and there. Let us see how to move the country forward.
Thank you so kindly. We'll take two more calls, and then we'll turn back to the panelists. 077-28-59-61. To this caller. Hello.
Yeah, what are you doing, sir?
How are you, sir? Your name from where you join us?
This is Evangelist Tour from Mamba Point,
Mamba Point. Make up. Go ahead.
Mamba Point.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, good evening, sir. I want to thank God for the conversation that's on the line. But first of all, I wanted to find out to those viewers or those people who are taking part into this discussion. Is it strange for the government that you're praying for that have been immoral acts? People who don't go take bath, they live in the water and they judge without no fee and pay. And people who are working with the company's highest demand monitoring agency, the LRA, they go without no justice. And the person who living with someone else being planning and doing everything when there's legal implications into that home, and the people decided to just chase after, let the people go, because I'm more than sure that the woman is not connected. The spirit man of me is telling me the word that the woman is not connected. But something went on because when they don't put the woman in jail, something will happen. The people of this morning when I listened to your view on the huge amount of deficit the commercial, the buying, our people who are using this money, the past government, 300 million. That is just 1 million plus inside deficit, which is people cash that people eat it private everywhere. The money they were squandering everything. Then the tell right again, those things that they are unaccounted for.
Okay.
And now the human lives are gone. The poor lady Guar or something.
Okay. Therefore, we're going to take our last caller and then to go back to the panelists because of time 607-728-5961. To this caller, you are very last caller. Go ahead, and from where you join us.
Hello?
Go ahead, and from where you join us.
Yeah, I'm a major call. I'm calling from Australia. I'm doing fine.
Make your point.
Yeah, my point has to do with the recent case that was done on our former Chief Justice. I've been listening, and also we know justice has a big reveal in our country. We tell God thank you. And one person who don't just accuse people until God who know everything and know who actually did that, and we pray that one day will come. One of the things I keep thinking about is that if a common man was going to do such a thing, would justice be revealed for that common man?
That becomes the question.
Yeah, but then they have been in jail for 5 years, 6 years, and their case have not come out one day for someone who has the money. They just simply telling us that people who have money are the people that justice can be preserved for. And I hope that God will make everything work out, and whoever that did that, they will still be brought to book. That's all I have to say.
Thank you so kindly. It has been so much amazing that with the audience getting your points on some of the issues as it relates to the current situation at the moment in our country. So it is back to you guys now for continuation.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Henry, for that. I think it was great. A lot of contributors from around the country, all around like the Monrovia, pretty boy. I would say like there are a lot of places. I think Buchanan and other parts of the country. People were able to chime in on the conversation. So our next segment here will be we'll take it to the panelists themselves to kind of chime in, react to the people's reaction, a view of the decision made today. We will go in that order of that. Pee-wee says Grace, Kelly Bo, Dr. Henry Peabody, Tomalin George, and from there we'll turn it over to Dr. Peabody to take on the rest of the show. Folks, we appreciate you for being here today. Continue to do what you're doing. Share the show, share the show, share the show. And let's hear from our panelists as to what they make of the people's view. And of course, what is their reaction as per the decision made today by the Supreme Court. What do you make of it? Let's hear from you guys.
Lofa,
Yes,
thank you. Thank you for holding it down. And let's
You got a call?
continue going. Since
Dr. Peabody, hold on one second. I think Tim only had a call.
Yeah, guys, Councilor Bobby Livingstone, as you may be aware, he prosecuted his he's on the line to be just weighing on the Supreme Court.
Okay.
Councilor Livingstone, you are welcome to the closing argument.
Thank you. I don't know. I think I've not made any appearance on this platform. How are you doing? How are you all doing?
Why not saying the lane? Let me appear. We want to ask Bobby Livingstone.
The man can contribute from the phone. You're on the phone.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Tomalin.
The man speaking to you, he said how you guys are doing.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful.
Wonderful. Good evening to the Southeastern Alliance. Is it the Southwest Alliance member?
Or is it North Central Alliance?
Oh, okay, the North Central Alliance member. Good evening to you.
Yeah, I was an integral part of the North Central Alliance, which is a political think tank that been in the vanguard of making a presence in the political discourse, of the country. But now it is cannot say it is not an active organization right now as we speak. Though I can tell you from the privileged point, they are plans to have it reactivated.
Great. Councilor Livingstone, again, welcome to the closing argument. As you're aware, today was a landmark ruling by the Supreme Court in the former Chief Justice murder case, Gloria Musu-Scott, and you were part of this case. And I know we all know the Supreme Court decision is final, but at least that doesn't mean that people cannot disagree with them and express their disagreement, and especially so when you were, I think you were one of those who prosecuted this case. So we'd like to hear from you. What's your take on the Supreme Court's ruling today?
Thank you very much. I would like to say, to preface my comment, that the purpose or the essence of a criminal prosecution is not to persecute, but to ensure that justice is served. In our practice and in many other jurisdictions, the prosecution has the opportunity to present its case before a court of competent jurisdiction. In the case of a criminal trial, your obligation is to present your evidence that should be clear and convincing, and to compel the court by the facts and circumstances to make a determination to convict. That is, if the court sees that that evidence is cogent, is compelling, and convincing. On the other hand, when you present your case before the court makes a determination that your evidence is not clear, is not convincing, or they could travel on the route of acquittal for the defendant. Whatever becomes the outcome of the case, as a prosecutor, you have to accept and realize that justice is served. And that is why your role as a prosecutor is not couched in the number of convictions that you bag or the number of acquittals that you suffer. What is important in the role of a prosecutor is to muster the tenacity to be able to ensure that the wheels of justice continues to turn, no matter who is involved. In an instant case, as has been finally decided by the Honorable Supreme Court of the Republic of Liberia, we say that, assuming we disagree with the court, our disagreement is of no legal effect. And so all we do in most cases of this nature, we take new lessons that can be learned, and a new case law that has been promulgated, count of the Supreme Court ruling and what we call the precedents. So if you ask me today, Supreme Court today by its ruling has discounted and negated the concept of circumstantial evidence and has recalled some of those cases that it made ruling on circumstantial evidence, which are analogous or the similar facts or the similar situation that may appear to be likened to what obtained in the aforesaid case that has been decided today, will present the basis for us to have a new narrative as our legal argument in the courts of Liberia going forward. And that is the niche, or can we say, that is a narrative or new discourse or new legal argument that has now been introduced in the legal theater of our country. I'd like to stop and see if you have any further questions.
Okay. Grace, we'll start with you, senior lady. Your question?
Well, it's nice to be on the show, and thank you, Mr. Livingston, for coming on. My question to you is, I would like to know what happened today. How I want you to please put it in the layman terms so our people in Liberia can understand. How do you feel, being that you were part of the first case, and you guys were the one that found this lady guilty for the crime that was committed at her house concerning her daughter. So how do you feel today that this case was overturned and now this woman is set free? Was it the right thing? That I know you will not say it was the right thing that they did, but you think it was fair to the deceased? Or I personally feel that too many evidences were contaminated in the case. But I'm not in Liberia, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a judge, so I don't know. So can you just tell us, with the overturn, how you feel as the person who was one of the people that was part of the case? Was it fair enough for the Liberian public to know that this was fair enough, or if it wasn't fair enough? I I have the question. I don't even have question to ask you. I'm just like overwhelmed with the whole thing, because Liberia, with everything in Liberia is about partisan. These two parties, CDC and UP, one group of people on this side, one group of people. So nothing can really be justified in this country for some reason, because the people have not allowed the country to just be free and live like one people when it comes to us living like one people. But everything is just divided because of partisan and stuff like that. So you can find a way to answer me, if you can. But for this case, I didn't even have much to say on it.
Let me say this much. As a lawyer, your solemn duty is to make sure you provide adequate legal representation to your client. In the instant case, if the question were asked if the state did do or provide adequate legal representation, the answer will be an overwhelming yes. We adduced the evidence that was available to us, which we were convinced by all of our legal judgment and standards that we have available to us, and we're able to present them to the court in the lower court. That was a jury trial. Let me make it also clear that as a prosecutor, I'm not a politician. I don't prosecute on political dictates or political persuasion. As a prosecutor, your overarching duty is to go after those who commit crime, who violate the law, and you have to make sure that you checkmate them using the instruments of the court. So then, in the case that just being brought to finality, the matter is that my personal feeling no longer counts. No longer counts. When the Supreme Court rules, we look at lessons and new legal arguments that have now arisen. And that is why we, the lawyers, will now draw our new lessons and conclusions from. And so, to say that we didn't do our best, we will say I will disagree with anyone. We believe that the evidence that we had available to us, which was presented, we did do that. We did present it, a cogent evidence that was available to us. A grand jury agreed with us and handed the defendants guilty. The Supreme Court, as a final arbiter, came forward, look at the records, and they don't take evidence. and they disagree and acquitted. They overturned the verdict or the ruling of the lower court and acquitted the defendants. So what we should be discussing now is not to politicize, because I am not going to travel on the route of politicization of the case, because our job has no premise on politics. I have handled other cases. Some we have won, some we have lost. What matters in cases sometimes is that we say power is reflected in names and places. So they may come on the pedestal of or a euphoria of public discourse, and that may have its own impact on the way public perception and we play. But between you and I, we are lawyers. We don't argue on public perception or public discourse on cases. We need not argue on what was presented before court and how the court has ruled, and what do we learn from the case. So one thing I can say, circumstantial evidence is not scientific evidence. Circumstantial evidence is evidence that says that from deductive reasoning, you were in the room, the key was left for you, and item was left for you, and we've investigated. There was no other entry, and you had the key for the room, and an item got misplaced or gotten lost, and all investigation proved that no other person had access to that room, and the phone got lost. You who had the key and had the presence in the room or within the room, you are likely you'll be held for that phone that got misplaced. That is what we call circumstantial evidence. It's not scientific evidence. Okay, and so if you just couple scientific evidence with circumstantial evidence, one of them will be severely undercut. But how be it, that is what it is today. A new mantra has been erected that will guide other legal arguments as we go forward.
Lofa.
Councilor Livingstone, or this Lofa Julius, you made mention of the fact that you provided adequate legal representation for the victim. In that regards, based on the verdict, it is stated that you did not provide enough evidence in the process that will actually protect or defend your position in the possible prosecution of the alleged perpetrator. My question to you here is, one, what is the possibility of having this case reopened for possible prosecution now that it is out of the Supreme Court? Because most Liberians are now concerned as to whether it is done. Charlotte is now the victim. That means since it is the Supreme Court, that is the end of it. They're no longer going to discuss it. I want you to speak to that as from a legal perspective, because I don't have that legal understanding. And secondly, I want to speak to another thing here. This is in less than 2 years. This is a major case that the prosecutors or the government, as one would refer to, have literally fell flat on her back. The case of, I think, Pressure, the young lady who Nate was, I think, slaughtered by the Caucasian guy. Okay. In that case, again, it was also stated something similar to the result we are hearing today. So are you, I mean, as prosecutor, can we now consider as Liberian that you guys are ill prepared and inadequate to represent us as citizens, and we often should expect to be victimized because you don't have what it takes to represent those whom you actually supposed to be representing? Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Let me respond to you this way. in the entire circle of the terms of court, we have the February term, the May term, the August term, and the November term. I'm talking about the circuit courts. In those terms and across the country, the cases are in huge numbers. Sometime in the term, we are able to prosecute in a given court between 3, at most 3 cases, or sometimes 4. And if you look at the record, in most times we able to prevail in 3. If we have 2 cases, sometimes we prevail in 1, and sometimes we prevail in 3, and sometimes we prevail in all. So if you put that record across the country, you will realize that most cases have been won by the Justice Ministry and they have been lost. What is drawing your attention now is because of the publicity, the characterization, and the stunt that has attended this particular case. So you try now to equate that to the general performance of the entire prosecutorial team. And that would be unfair, and that would be unjustified, because if you were to look at the report from the prosecution team, over the last 1 year or the last 2 terms of this current administration, you will still realize that the number of cases won have far outweighed the ones that have been lost. So if you were to arrive at any conclusion that there was some dismal performance on account of this one case, you would be wrong. Because, for example, if you are working in a place, your boss will grade you on your overall performance as opposed to an incident where you did not perform. And then they will weigh it and say, because of that, or the fact that you perform more, one incident will not offset the previous records that you have. So let's suffice it to say that this case today being lost or overturned by the Supreme Court in no way diminishes or undergrades the prosecution. You live in the United States. A friend of mine was speaking to me from the States, and I have indicated to him that, if we were to check the records, the landmark cases where the state also lost, that would not be equated to say that the prosecution or they also prosecuted the department in that country were inadequate. So I'd like to reject your argument and say that this is just a case, other publicity and all other things that have attended it should not as a what we'll call a measuring rod to grade the overall performance of the state prosecutors in Liberia.
Peewee.
Thank you very closely. Let me say a wonderful good evening to you, Mr. Councilor Bobby Stone. I'm Sylvester Peewee. Basically, just
Bobby Livingstone, please, not Bobby Stone, please.
Come again?
Councilor Bobby Livingstone, just have the name correctly pronounced. That's all.
Okay. Councilor Bobby Livingstone. Okay. Are you okay with that?
Go ahead, my brother.
Okay. I try to take you back. I listened to you carefully running through what you're trying to explain here. But I want first you brought up the issue about circumstantial evidence versus scientific evidence. Do you now want to tell the public that the process about this whole case going to court, there was a weak scientific evidence collected by the police? Because the first line of the justice system is basically through the Liberal National Police in the charging process, and you, the counselor, will have to weigh that very well before going to court. Do you now want to tell us that the entire scientific process in terms of the scientific team of the Liberal National Police during the investigation prior to this process was a very weak one, and you got heavily rely on the circumstantial practice and side? Another thing I want you to tell the public and tell us on this platform.
You were kind of breaking in. You have to reiterate your last part of your question.
The last part of I was asking if you're telling the public that your scientific collection of evidence was very weak in terms of the why you pushed during the prosecution process. If that's why because I heard you saying the circumstantial aspect was very heavy, but the court now set a new precedent by trying to put that at the back, meaning blowing that off. It's a precedent set now by the Supreme Court in terms of the circumstantial evidence. But you didn't emphasize heavily on the issue about collecting scientific data for this case. And that's what brought to my question to ask you if the Liberal National Police did a weak job in terms of the way the charges came about. Another question I wanted to push to you is this process about.
Can you let me systematically deal with it on a gradual basis, and then we proceed from that point of view? Would that be better?
Excellent. Go ahead.
Okay, you now trying to what we call raise the two scenarios of scientific evidence and circumstantial evidence. I say in my conversation here tonight that our evidence was bordered on circumstantial evidence, and I also went further to argue that it is based on deductive reasoning, and from all accounts and circumstances, what will lead a reasonable mind to believe, given the circumstances presented. And I illustrated or tried to paint a picture that you are in the room, two persons in the room, an event occurred in the room that leads to, an injury.
Counselor, we got that aspect of in the room and why have you on that basic, right? We got that aspect. I'm trying to take you. Excuse me, Counselor. I'm trying to take you back.
Yeah, go ahead. I will yield.
Thank you. I'm trying to take you back to the process about this scientific evidence here, because it's on the basis of what the Supreme Court, you as a learned lawyer defending. I want us to concentrate now on the scientific evidence. Now, basically, here there are different things. There's a murder aspect that got involved with blood process. There were blood spilled up all around the place. Scientifically, did you get sufficient? Because in this kind of a process, any iota of doubt in this kind of a murder case, I just started watching a movie again. I wanted to go through that, how I won't get away with murder, right? In terms of evidence, processes, and the rest of that. I want you to focus on the scientific evidence. Was there sufficient set of evidence that you guys, the prosecution, made available to the court? In terms scientifically, I'm not talking about the circumstantial aspect.
Yeah, but so the point I was making to you is that when you travel on the route of circumstantial evidence, you diminish and reduce the scope of the argument of.
Lofa, what happened?
He
and I think he should answer also on that. It's very important because I'm reading the post.
I'm glad that you actually asked that question, because from his narrative, he's telling us they were not, they did not have enough scientific evidence.
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, the police did not do her job.
Absolutely.
So they were not able to prosecute.
And that's the reason why the Supreme Court did what it did today. The Supreme Court is not wrong.
Yes.
The Supreme Court is not wrong. They are correct.
They are inadequate. They cannot represent the people if they don't.
Lofa, let us not mislead the public on this.
Nobody is misleading.
Nobody misleading the public.
It's a half what the councillor said. What the councillor said, the councillor the premise of his argument that Councillor Bobby Stone is making is not based on scientific evidence. It was very clear. He said, listen, moving
and
forward.
You don't need to capture what we're saying. You should have focused on that. Focus on scientific evidence.
No.
Focus on that.
No. Let me
Can we just speak one at a time, please?
Prior to a prosecutor going to court or having to attempt to prosecute anybody, you would think that they will consider all aspects of it. Scientific evidence, circumstantial evidence. He just said heavily they were weighing on circumstantial evidence. That's what he said here.
But Lofa,
how will you leave out the scientific evidence?
My question is jotted down here.
But let me
tell you.
Wait for your question. You ask your question. Don't tell you.
Don't tell your question.
Yeah,
don't tell your question. You ask your question.
Let me tell you. When Bobby Livingstone comes on, because the reason guys spoke to, I know about Councillor Bobby Livingstone, and I know the co-lawyer within Councillor Adolphus Carna. He was my classmate from high school up to college.
See,
I know him very well.
I knew something like that.
I spoke with him during the trial. The reason why they proceeded with the case, because the Supreme Court already has so many opinions on circumstantial evidence, where convictions are upheld at the Supreme Court. If Councillor Bobby Livingstone comes by, I'm going to ask him to just name one case law where the Supreme Court rule on circumstantial evidence.
No. The issue about circumstantial evidence here, my dear brother, is that you can remember the Angel Topa case when the Supreme Court ruled again. That's what I'm thinking. Listen, man. Listen, when we go into court as lawyers, we need to go back to past Supreme Court ruling. The Angel Topa case was a classic example of this process in 2010 when the Supreme Court ruled again. You are in Liberia, I want to believe then.
That was Supreme Court, not Johnny Lewis.
So
exactly.
No.
Supreme Court.
Take note that the Supreme Court bench under different justices shift the direction of the court in different directions.
That part.
Take note of that. The Johnny Cole bench, Johnny Lewis bench was different. The Francis Copper bench approach was different. The current bench approach is different. Every Chief Justice takes the Supreme Court in the direction in which they want the law to be viewed. It's here in the United States.
You know, I didn't want to comment today.
I have a question here. Sylvester, let's start with you. What is your impression about the entire ruling today? That's not that.
Thank you very much. Thank you,
Peabody. We're discussing that.
Thank you, Peabody. And I will be very clear today. My brother and myself went back and forth on this process today. I'm disappointed in the ruling, but
how many minutes each person has?
2 minutes.
Okay,
2 minutes.
2 minutes. I got it. I'm disappointed in the ruling, but I do respect the ruling. I disagree with the ruling. I'm disappointed. Disagree with the ruling, but I respect the ruling because it's the final court of our land. The court has already spoken. But here's what I was also saying today: this process is litigation. It's a justice system. It's not a system that we come with our own emotional process to bring to bear. It's not sentimental. Yeah, it's a process about putting evidence to bear and pushing logic. What I do, I do read a lot of books about this legal issue about cases, both here in Liberia and other areas. The reason why sometimes most of those cases slip out is because prosecution or lawyers can make a lot of mistakes, and those technical mistakes. The Supreme Court is where you have the best lawyer that will read the application of the case. If there's enough mistakes that will come out, the Supreme Court will dismiss a case. And that's the reason I was not surprised with the Supreme Court decision today. I was never surprised. I knew the way they went about it, the way the police went about charging these people. Now, it wouldn't be good if they would have said conspiracy to murder, where you see a physical scientific evidence. Conspiracy to murder would have sufficed. That would have sufficed. You would have built a case and produced some evidence to build a sufficient case to need these people today so that the Supreme Court wouldn't be saying what they said today. So on a serious note, in keeping with the 2 minutes, I don't want to go against it. I am very disappointed. This innocent lady died the way she died. But again, the application of law is a different methodology here we have, right? So again, that's part of it. I respect the decision coming from the court, but I vehemently and heavily disagree with the ruling coming out of the Supreme Court today. Thank you.
Go ahead.
I want to be in like a minute 30 seconds. It's okay. You can go ahead. That's my position on this matter.
All right, 624. Let me say this. My disappointment is with the current situation in our country. You know, Liberia there's a damage being done to the country that many people don't see. Those of us who are educated will know what is happening in the country and will feel sad about it. Today in our country, justice is viewed from the perspective of the CDC and the Unity Party. These two parties are destroying the country. Today you see Unity Party people jubilating, and you see larger sedition feeling sad. This is not justice. Justice must be blind. Justice must be that decision that binds the country and unite the country. If you have a justice, if you have a verdict that divides the country, that's not justice. And this is sad. It's happening because increasingly Liberia is being balkanized, is being divided between two evil forces. Forces that are destroying the country in the manner and form that people are not imagining. And 10 years from now, or 20 years from now, Liberia will actually cease to be a country, to be admitted among civilized nations because of the rule of two corrupt political parties. And this is what I can say, quite frankly, on this matter. I'm not going to look on the merits and demerits of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has spoken, and that's the law of the land. I don't have issue with that because I'm not a lawyer. But the reaction of the public, of the ordinary people, is where I have my disappointment.
All right. Grace, then I'll come back to myself. Grace, go ahead.
Well, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, he's back. He's back.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Councilor. Please.
My conversation with this lodge by the call that came in. Sorry for that. Hello?
Yeah, Peewee, go ahead. Question now.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, Councilor. Good that you back. I know there was some technical glitches back in Monrovia with your mobile, but yeah, is it? My point I was talking about. I want to also focus basically on the scientific aspect of the evidence. You as a lawyer moving into a case, particularly a murder case, wherein the basic lie is any iota of doubt in terms of having consistent evidence-based case. That the material aspect of the evidence have to be very heavy and severe in terms of you moving off a prosecution. I was asking you to tell us and the public how much evidence scientifically did you have before moving into this case, before the start of this case? And secondly, folks are asking, they say part of the reason why the prosecution may have applied the way they did things, there were a lot of mistakes made by the prosecution because there's some political interference into the process. So I wanted you to explain those circumstances leading to the process before the case came at this level.
Yeah, but okay, well, but I want to first debunk any comment that entertains the argument of political interference.
We are tuned, Councilor.
There was no political interference in this case. I can say that. Those of us who participated in this case, we did a professional job without prejudice, without any influence from any quarter. We did do a piece of job that a 29-year-old had been stabbed, and under any circumstance, whether it happened in Bunkonema, wherever and whoever was involved, we would do the same thing. And so I like to just nip that and deconstruct anybody who has this notion that did not occur, that did not were not associated with the case. But here is what I'd like to say to you. This very Supreme Court in previous cases, if you were around when we argue, we even cited some cases where circumstantial evidence was employed, and we gave the scenario even when we were in court that day. And again, the law is, can I say metamorphosis? A lot of changes going on, different arguments, and the law is going on a different pedestal. So today the Supreme Court says that argument that we use with the issue, for example, the case in Maryland, the young man took the child to the creek and came back, and the child afterwards started to get sick and started foaming in the mouth, and the child passed. They could held him liable, but no one saw him giving any chemical or any poison to the child. So there are instances that the court has ruled on circumstantial evidence. But in 2024, the landscape has shifted. There is a different argument. The law has taken mutated to a new argument, and so scientific evidence has to now be employed with respect to circumstantial evidence to kind of, in a sense, maybe allay any doubt or so. And so, like I said, there's a learning curve again.
Quickly, Councillor, before you continue, before you go to the next question, do you believe
to condescend on the prosecution team? That's my point.
Okay, quickly, Councillor, before you continue to the next question, do you believe sincerely that Councillor Gloria Musu-Scott, former Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia and former Senator of Maryland County, and her co-accuser, Mother Shada Musu?
That is what we presented to the court. And the
Do you still believe that? Do you still believe that?
Presented to the court, and the court believed otherwise.
So do you believe that there was a miscarriage of justice by the court?
Are you saying what?
Do you believe there was a miscarriage of justice by the court?
I didn't say that there's a...
I'm asking you as a learned counselor and prosecutor, do you believe that?
No, you cannot impute into my position.
I'm not imputing.
So you don't believe in the judgment that you gave?
So I mean, he's asking you a question, though.
The man is saying that what he presented to the court. So what you answer the
I'm
question?
asking, no, too many 1 minute. I'm asking if he believes, because what you're pushing for. Do you still believe that there was a miscarriage of justice by the court?
My dear brother, I preface my conversation that the essence of prosecution is not to persecute, or the argument that a lawyer goes to court and tells the client, I will win this case. A lawyer's fundamental duty is to provide adequate legal representation, provide the evidence at hand to the court, and the court makes a determination.
Well, you did provide the evidence on him. What we want to know is...
Wait, I think you want to also talk one at a time.
Well, guys, I haven't even asked my question yet. Everybody.
You asked. Grace has asked question already.
What the question?
Grace, and you want to also talk one at a time earlier, right? Let's do the one at a time talking, and we're doing it.
Everybody ask a question.
That's a fair question.
Yeah, we want to stick on Peabody question, because if the man who presenting the evidence saying the woman should be guilty, it cannot hold on to his evidence and say, I agree that this woman is guilty.
Grace, lawyers do not behave like that, because the court...
How they behave?
No, when the Supreme Court rules, lawyers respect it. They don't go on...
but they disagree with it. They disagree.
No.
They respect, but they disagree.
Okay, guys. One at a time.
Livingston said it here. He said it here.
Counselor, can you hear me? Counselor Livingston.
Counselor like your friend. So you sign that French, that partisan friendship.
Counselor,
always bring this to this.
Counselor Livingston, let me ask you this question. Can you hear me? Counselor Livingston, can you hear me?
Yeah, he hearing you.
Sir, if you were to
if you were to, if there was an opportunity again, will you still represent the victim?
I beg your pardon. You are coming broken.
I'm saying, if there was an opportunity again if there was an opportunity, I know the Supreme Court already ruled, but if there's another evidence that came up, will you still be willing to represent the victim?
If I am still in the employ of the Ministry of Justice as a prosecutor, any case with which I'm assigned.
No, I'm talking about that specific case regarding Shada Musu.
No, it finished. It can't come back no more.
I know, it can't come back.
He knows that he only asking hypothetical situation.
Oh, okay.
Let me tell you, in our business, we don't make such presumptions.
Okay, in your business, you don't make such presumption. Will you say that the police were reckless in giving you investigation?
It is there with as is.
Will you agree with me that the Liberian National Police was reckless in the investigation? Will you agree with me?
I don't know what you're saying for reckless. I have not said such. I told you we work with the police. The police presented to us what was adduced, collected from the crime scene, and we evaluated it and proceeded to court. We were convinced about what we had. The court saw it the other way, and that's how it works in this business.
So were you convinced beyond all reasonable doubt that
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
The time we have done our case and we've won, and you have not had an opportunity to discuss with me like that. You're only discussing with me on this single case because the Supreme Court has overturned it.
Because this is the case you avail yourself.
It's a landmark case.
There's several cases that we have cared not to ask about those cases.
Well, it appeared that you don't even believe in your own case you presented.
Thank you.
You don't even believe in it.
I didn't tell you that. I didn't tell you that I didn't believe in my case.
But you say you're not convinced that she was guilty.
Excuse me. I have to correct you right there. You are in error by making such, a comment. Because I didn't tell you we didn't believe in our case. Every prosecutor go to case, we were convinced about what we had adduced, what was available to us. The testimony of the witnesses, the statements that were made by the defendants, we took all of that to court. And we were able to secure conviction from the jury. The Supreme Court said it believed that its standard of proof for the issue of murder were not presented, and it overturned the ruling. It doesn't mean we didn't do what we had to do. We did what we had to do.
Are you disappointed with Supreme Court? Are you disappointed?
That you still agree with what you gave the Supreme Court that this was murder.
Okay, Kelebo, you got a question, Kelebo? Kelebo, a question? Kelebo?
We got no question.
Yes,
I have a question.
I have a question. Good evening, Councillor Bobby Livingstone.
Yeah, go ahead, my dear friend.
Yeah, my question to you, I know you talk about this in passing, but I want you to just explain a little further on previous ruling of the Supreme Court where circumstantial evidence was upheld from lower court ruling. Just emphasize that a little bit, because I think people try to get a little bit confused about that between scientific and non-scientific.
Nobody's confused about.
I think you're confused, Kelly.
I never said you. Yeah. I said some people. I didn't call your name.
You answer a question, Anthony. Okay, the council answer a question. Councilor.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. You have the floor.
So, under circumstantial evidence, I told you I gave two scenarios in the court. There was a case in Sino with the murder of a gentleman by almost 7 to 8 persons. They had taken the person to the creek, and then the person was killed and buried. And then when they came to town, no one saw them doing that though, and they arrested them because the person was last seen with them, and they all got to town and became quiet. So when they were rounded up and they went to court, I'm not just able to flip my records here to give you the caption of the case. But the point I'm making is that the court held those persons liable or guilty on account. Although 20 years, after even they had been, then one of them came out to admit that they had done the killing and buried the person near the riverside. At that time, there was no conduct of DNA or blood samples, but the facts and circumstances presented that this person was last seen with you people and you can account for the person. And that's the same theory we took. The person was in a house and we said there was no entry by an intruder. And that's our theory. That's circumstantial evidence. 4 persons in the house. 1 person got killed, stabbed by knife. And there was no, we said there were, we told the jury, if you believe that there was an entry, acquit. By an intruder, acquit. If you believe there was no entry by an intruder, convict.
But as a lawyer, why you couldn't convince the jury as a lawyer?
No, who you are
And the
getting?
jury convicted.
I said at the lower court. At the lower court, got a conviction. Who you are following the argument here tonight?
What I'm thinking is, as a lawyer, why would you really go and take circumstantial evidence to go and try in the court, knowing that there will be a very difficult case for you to plead though?
Are you trying to be judgmental?
Not really. Not really.
I'll have no answer for you because we decided based on what was available to us, and in our room deliberation as lawyers, we took what was available, investigated it, weighed it, and we established a conviction that we had.
Okay, can I ask a question? No, but you can't play with people's lives.
Let me ask my question.
You can't play with, you can't.
Chris, this is how I felt when we were talking about it. You said let's go one at a time. So let Tomalin ask his question, and then we can close up.
Okay, so let me ask my question. My question is,
how I felt when
guys, please now. My question is, my question is this, right?
Don't talk to me again.
My question is this, Councilor Livingstone. First, my first question is:
I'm hearing you.
You still work with just the Minister of Justice? Still in employ?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Okay. Now, okay.
The answer is yes.
Okay, good. Okay, I know it was you and Councilor Good that work on this case, right? You and Councilor Good.
We're not Councilor Guar alone. We're a couple of team of prosecutors from the Ministry of Justice.
Okay, I know Councilor
between 7 to 8 lawyers.
I know Councilor Good said that he he stood by your argument. He stood by it. He said on a program that he stood by it, and he believed that the Gloria Scott was guilty, and the jury was right for the action. Now, but today in the ruling of the Supreme Court Chief Justice said the state did not meet the burden of proof to warrant the conviction of the defendants. Therefore, the defendants are hereby acquitted of the crimes of murder, criminal conspiracy, and all, as charged in the indictment. Now, many are saying, I've been speaking to a lot of lawyers and other people, they are saying that because they were the murder weapon, the object that was used to kill Charlotte Musu, were not presented in the court. Do you think if you had presented in the court, even though she was convicted in the lower court, the Supreme Court would have had no alternative but to agree with the jury?
Yeah, so again, we'll go back to our theory of our case, circumstantial evidence.
Okay.
We said that given the facts and circumstances which I tried to narrate, the theory was there were no intruder.
Yes.
And if there were intruder, and I told you that already, and the jury agreed with us in the court below. I said to you, the Supreme Court, upon revisiting the records of the case, saw it otherwise. And this is what obtains in the theater of the courtroom. You may have you prevail in the lower court, and it could be overturned in the upper court. You could prevail in the lower court, it could be upheld in the upper court. We have a plethora of matters of that nature. So this is an instance. It brings is a novelty with respect to the recall of the argument of circumstantial evidence by the Supreme Court. be aware Supreme Court can recall from time to time. It will take this position and become a precedent case, and it will say we recall our position in this case, and this case of 19 days. So today the Supreme Court has ruled this way. Going forward, cases will continue to come before the Supreme Court that could have similar characterization and similar circumstances, and the Supreme Court will see it again, probably in another way. That would become the norm, the controlling law. So we should not get fiery, we should not get emotional and unnecessarily, get a flare up because the court has ruled. We have done a piece of job. We are convinced about our job we did, and the court just saw it the other way, and we move on. Like with my what I started with, is not to persecute. Justice serve in two ways. We can win the case both at the lower and upper levels. We can also win at lower and also lose at upper. It happened. It has been happening every time. New lessons are learned. And new what we call stock taking has to be done, and we move on. But to come now and condescend, for example, on the court would be inappropriate.
Okay, Councillor, let me just want to say thank you. We know this case has become a case law case. It's now a case law. It was a precedent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so when talk about circumstantial evidence in another case tomorrow, it will become a precedent case. So, but again, we want to wish you well at the Minister of Justice in all your future prosecution of cases that will come before you. I want to say thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. From time to time, you can always have the opportunity to call me if you need my legal conversation from me. So.
Thank you so much. Have a good night. Well, guys, look, like we said earlier, the Supreme Court is they are the final arbiter of certain legal disputes. Like I talked to several councillors today. One councillor said today that the Supreme Court acted within their own authority and they did the right thing. According to the person, they said, well, it's all because the prosecution did not present a strong case, and the word that you was sloppy, the case was sloppy. As a result, the Supreme Court found an opening and said, well, there's no. She said that on her ruling, she said they did not meet the burden of proof to warrant a conviction. So based on that, they decided to overturn the decision of the lower court.
Yeah, and the burden of proof lies on who?
I mean, on
the prosecution.
The prosecutor.
So now, so the only thing the sad thing is that Shalom Musu should have been in her maybe her 30th year, 31-year-old, and living a rich life ahead of her. But today she's no more, and we pray justice wasn't served for her. We don't know who killed her now, but I can say personally is that all those who involved with this girl's death, whether you are in know of it, your hands are still with blood, and no matter that she's not alive and to talk her case, to talk who killed her, but to give the real story. But again, your conscience. And I see people today celebrating, but what they fail to notice that they should be celebrating, but they forget that somebody is dead. A 30-year-old girl lost her life. She's dead. And people ask, and then because the councillor said, to be frank, to politicize this case to the extent that you have people today saying, oh, John, we have put a woman in jail, but I free her. I mean, can you imagine this time of our country history? This is what we're talking about. When somebody died, we cannot find the person, the person who killed this girl. But again, all we can say, Supreme Court respect your decision, but some others disagree with it. We believe that that somebody, like the councillor said, I think I saw a copy of the police report. There was no intruder, so nobody broke into this house. So the murder suspect was among the 4 people that were in the house that are alive. The 4 person that are alive today, somebody may have been the one who killed Charlie Musu. But again, we leave it with your conscience, you know. But I can tell you, Charlie Musu, wherever you are, We cried for you, but your blood will not go in vain. Those who the person that killed you, those who are aware of your killing, they will not have peace in the rest of their life. They will find no peace. You can get all the money, get the best job. You will not find peace. Whenever you sit down somewhere in your car or somewhere in the bathroom, you have that shiver will come to you. You'll say, "Oh my God!" You know that Charlotte Musu, you know her, about her death. Whoever did it, I'm not accusing no one, but whoever did it, well, more than 4 people that are in the house, and they got set free today, let them go. But again, Charlotte Musu, one day, somebody will either confess. Take my word, mark this day. One day, four persons, one day somebody will confess about what happened to Charlotte Musu in our house. Guys, that's all I can say about this.
Look, Tomalin, let me say that I blame the prosecution in this whole case. They sat there, and he's not even convinced that Guar Musu's caught. You as the prosecutor, not even convinced that Guar Musu's caught is guilty. You keep pivoting back every time they tell you want to pivot to another topic. I think what I realize is that the investigators, those who are collecting evidence, they did not do their work. They did not do little justice. Apparently, there were a lot of emotional sediments into this. So for that reason, forensic evidence and things were not available, to really, prosecute it. But for me, I'm convinced that Guar Musu's card knows who killed Charlotte. She may not be the one to do it, but she knows who did it. But unfortunately, sometimes the decision of the Supreme Court can really divide people. It can divide a whole population. Very much it can divide a whole population. But I think it's something that people need to learn from. But I'm convinced that she knows who killed her daughter, and she's gonna live with that for the rest of her life. She's gonna live with that. She knows exactly who killed her daughter. What not do this, and for the peace of that child. But unfortunately, there were a lot of emotional sentiment. At one point, they were accusing other people.
Exactly.
Jerome Verder then were there accusing other people that were not involved.
What do you mean, is it Villa Tali? What a Bonnie and
they were accusing people for nothing. They blame Jefferson Kochi, they blame other people. It's really sad. But Guar Musu's card is released. She gone home. The child is dead, and she knows. So as she go to bed and wake up, her dream and everything, it will come back to haunt her. And don't be surprised. Guar Musu's card will probably get a job in the government very soon. Don't be surprised. They'll reward her with a job. But I think it was important that the police, the detective, they should have actually taken time to do the investigation rather than follow the sentiment of it. And it's sad for that little girl, and unfortunately, it happened. Livingstone does not want to lose a job. That's why you see him changing his tune. Exactly. Let's be honest here. He does not want to lose the job at the Justice Ministry. So now he's changing tune. If you prosecuted a case and you don't agree that this person is guilty, you basing it, you agree with the Supreme Court decision, and you can't come up publicly to say it. He's trying to protect his job,
But again, I will say this though. What surprised me is that I saw government officials celebrating today, which was, honestly, I understand she was a lawyer of the president of the ruling party right now. She was a lawyer for them. But at least to say, they should have been saying, why it is true the Supreme Court had the final decision, but what happened with Charlotte? When will we find the murder of Charlotte Musu? She's dead, But again, I would say, look, it's not. They try to politicize this whole case. They thought, and to be honest with you, we all watched this case. President Weah wasn't involved in the case, I ought to say he influenced the case. No, as accusing of doing, he did not influence this case. The Justice Minister handled this case. Okay, I know there was an issue between the Justice Minister and the Solicitor General at the time, Musa Dean and Serena Cephas, on the same case. The case was delayed too much before it went to trial. But again, they got to speak up one of these days. But again, I would say to celebrate. I mean, you celebrate, but you're not even thinking. You should be crying for Shala Musu. I would have been crying. I would have been able to. I mean, the president would have come to the microphone today and say, "Look, a Liberian died. A Liberian child was killed in this case, and we're mourning for her." You know, to say that, to talk about Shala Musu. You know, to each time the Supreme Court of America give a ruling, the president will come to the microphone and you say, "Well, I disagree with Supreme Court ruling." You say you overcome the market, I disagree with the Supreme Court ruling, but at the same time, we got to do better job. That's why he will tell you, say, well, we got to elect, put in power so that they can appoint judges who will interpret the law as it sees it, not to put the emotional feelings in. But again, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we are as a country. I personally disagree with the Supreme Court ruling today, but I respect the decision because they are the final arbiter of legal dispute in our country. We respect it, but I disagree with it. And I only pray that whoever killed Shala Musu should come out and will confess one of these days or will be exposed. And because 4 persons were involved though, and they all got released. And no confusion, right? So I know having one of these days, somebody will have confusion, somebody will bust up, they'll say, hey, I'll tell the people, I'll tell the real story, I'll talk it. I'll talk what happened. Yeah. And somebody will say, I'll tell the whole story. I already tell you what happened with Shala Musu that night. And then people will be made shame. But I can tell you, in our lifetime, we'll find out who killed Shala Musu. Take my word. Tell my word.
Yeah, basically, quickly, because I'll be running up soon. And that's the fact. But I thought one of the places the police didn't work well, and that's why we're trying to push a lawyer. But again, he was clear not on it because he wanted to maintain, first and foremost, he wanted to maintain his contract with the government as a prosecutor. He wouldn't come hard now here.
Of course.
Remember, there's some issue. I didn't just want to say there's some issue about he was appointed deputy minister for information. They withdrew his nomination. There's this problem. There's the information I wanted to ask him, but I didn't want to push him to open up to all those things. There's the information that the former chairman of the NEC, Councillor Fromoyan, and the rest of the folks push through to the president to withdraw his nomination because of the fracas that unfolded between the both of them. They thought the councillor said that he was very disrespectful and the rest of it to Mr. Fromoyan and the rest of that. So that's why that's why he was appointed deputy minister, and they withdrew his nomination after Fromoyan pushed against it. That's very firm and something we get behind the scenes. That's one of the reasons why they withdrew his nomination. So again, as a prosecutor, they will do everything. I know him to be a tough person. You saw how he sounded, right? So the basic line, I was deliberate in asking the question to see if he stand by that. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He was not emphatic.
You get a minute. The man said,
but it's understandable.
I say he stand by what I mean.
It is understandable. That's the kind of assistant, and we send it up. But basically, as you said just now, there's going to be a God. There's a God that we all believe in, and I believe if that innocent blood was taken by people that are stay around, and if the justice didn't fail on that, the final justice then up in heaven won't fail on that. So basically, maybe
the police are investigating. But if you stay in the employ of the national police, you will not come forward. But if you're not in the national police employ, you want to can't say, "Oh, we are welcome to come."
But Tony, most of the people there are not like the lawyers and things. They're really not there in the interest of the people. You know, if you have a lawyer who's representing these people to come up here and can publicly say you agree that this woman committed the crime, it's a shame.
I think the man said it, but he didn't say the way one of the things to say. But I think he had better than
you know.
He's too bad. It's too bad the prosecution. It's too bad the argument.
I mean, they're all now rushing to protect that job. Supreme Court need that job. They need that allowance and other things to come up. So they work with the government and everything. But you know, as I said, I believe she didn't pull the trigger, but she knows who did it.
Of course.
The
I mean,
sacrifice.
it's not rocket science. The police. I think if I'm not mistaken though. I got look. My phone got stolen, but one of my phones I got. So they sent me the whole police report where they said, in fact, from what they did, maybe people don't know. When I went at the police station, they put all the people in separate rooms, and then it's like they ask you give your version of what happened, what you witnessed, you give your own, and then they post it up. But then they got to know that something happened. How can the police got to know? Because people are in separate rooms and giving, and where you know what I'm telling the police, you know what Grace telling the police, you know what the other people are telling the police. So as a result, based on the post about what Grace told us, what people they said, maybe people they said the same that Grace said, and all this, but then they all saying the same thing that happened. This one only the person denying. The person that be denying in denial might be the person who who trying to hide or were involved. But I can tell you for a fact that for the fact that the police said there was no intruder, no entry, that no somewhere the entry took place. But again, look, we leave it. O.J. Simpson, right? And he was found not guilty in a court, but the court of public opinion is found him guilty, and they let him live with him all his life. Which is true though, but that's Liberia. But they get you scared that is there anything happening abroad now? Maybe I will not get that I won't get a fair trial. But again, I believe in the system. We just got to continue to fight to improve it. But again, I pray for Paul Shalom Musu. I pray that her killers will be found one of these days. Somebody will either confess or will come forward. But I pray that she will get justice. It may not be now. Maybe 10 years from now. Maybe tomorrow will be gone. Somebody will come and say, let us show Musu evidence. Somebody, who knows? Somebody may confess in church one day and say, let me be honest with you. This is what happened. And we'll hear it one day. But, buddy, look, let's move on, buddy. That's somebody want to weigh in. Let me put him on. You want to weigh in? Buddy, you muted. Okay, Abraham Conner, you want to weigh in? Go ahead.
Yeah, man. Tomalin, good evening, my brother. Dad, good evening. Great
Good
show.
to hear from you, brother. Good to hear from you.
Yeah, man. Great show, guys. I know you guys were trying to quiz the League of Mind here. Yeah, for the record, I'm League of Mind, and I graduated from the University of Ghetto. He's a smart guy. But look, Timothy, here's the thing. For me, from all indication, I strongly believe that there was a judicial interference from the executive. Because if you recall, immediately President Barker took over, he visited this convicted person of former Chief Justice Gloria Scott. And not only that, there was a delegation from the Information Ministry, I think, that visited and literally extended an apology to Chief Justice Scott in the prison compound, telling her, we are sorry what happened to you in the capacity. They didn't go visiting as individuals. They went there in the capacity of the government. Mind you, for you to even have a trial again under this government, where the prosecution could not even be represented anymore to buttress their decision or to even justify their decision, it says a lot. Today, when the Supreme Court ran on a judgment, prosecution was nowhere to be found to the point that you find out $100. They didn't go there. So you expect Bobby Livingston to come and say what? He would not do that. Because there's already been, look, take it or leave it. We have absolute presidency in Liberia. And if the president of the nation literally going to, it's kind of like I'm in prison and the president goes see me to the prison compound for a crime I committed, whoever coming after that thing, they're apprehensive. And that was the case here. So obviously, what do you expect to do? Take for instance, like the injured Tupac case that he talk about. Today, James Williams and others got free, but they are still convicted in the public opinion of Liberia. And that's a situation that people are going to live with for the rest of it. That's why you saw me. I turned it earlier on. I said that. I said, O.J. Simpson, until he died in America yet. A public opinion had him guilty all through his life. So that's the case here. For crying out loud, Tomalin, the police did their job. From all indication, they're telling you that there was no intrusion in the building. And then somehow.
Oh, oh, sorry. Abraham, call back. Okay, I got another call on the line. Oh, I'm sorry, I know what happened. But go ahead, Idris Belete.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, you live.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity. Hello?
Yeah, you live.
Yeah, my brother. One thing in life, there is a judge. This judge is the judge that sees, that knows everything. Yesterday, there was a ruling by the Supreme Court that a man did not kill a little girl. And that man was he was given freedom. But to him, he's in America and he shall not see the sight of the sun. He's blind. He will not see daylight until the end of his life. He's been blind. So those who think that they can politicize things and they can run with things and think that they are the best politician because they have sharp mouth, you should know that tomorrow, you never know. That's somebody's 9 months. She grew up after 30 years and she got murdered. 4 persons in house, like the lawyer said, and 1 person got murdered, and nobody should be held liable, be held accountable. But there is a God, and that God will provide justice. He will give justice to innocent little soul.
Amen.
Secondly, they didn't expect the lawyer who is a participator in the court to come and have a dissenting opinion when the court had already made an opinion. They don't say the lawyer to say that the court is wrong. And it's not different. The court has ruled. That is the decision of the court. That man has to live. His profession has to survive. Do you know what will happen if you get this and then get that? And you say, no, you're studio that again. The man is giving. Do you know what the law says when the Supreme Court makes opinion and the lawyer gives a dissenting opinion? Do you want to make the guy disbar and you will be there playing for him? If you get disbar, what benefit you have to get? The Supreme Court has ruled and the man gets disbar because he said he stood for a cause. That's not it.
Thank you. So guys, yeah. So you see what's happening. The case. I think the Supreme Court ruled. Unfortunately, there will be no justice. As we can see now, there's no justice for Glora Musu. There's no justice for her. The fact here is, others may say it's not politicized. I believe this whole case is politicized. And as I said, our justice system in that country, for some folks I see who always, Liberia is okay, Liberia is fine. These are some of the things. Those are some of the things we talk about. There's some of the things we talk about. Liberia is fine. Liberia, everything all right. This is good. You can be right in your house. Somebody rob you, or somebody kill you, somebody take your land in that country. The justice will not treat you right. Only if you know somebody or you're of some higher class. It's a higher class justice we have in that country. Actually, going by the law and enforcing it. I mean, I don't want to be disrespectful to the Liberia Supreme Court, but it's blah. Scam. They will go.
How do you go like brother the poor? Who you gonna tell me?
Well, they can do that. I would love to do that, but I think the whole thing is blah. They will not protect you, except be some top government official. Okay, this same Supreme Court justice, the one that we're just talking about the other day, who
who hired her daughter to be her special assistant on a $1,500 salary a month. This is since Supreme Court justice who spent thousands of dollars. It was published in the newspaper the other day to travel to India and other countries to seek medical attention. The same Supreme Court justice was the one who was complaining that they were not giving her benefits and all that kind of stuff. So, it's really sad. But again,
we got one caller in line. The caller one contribute. Go ahead, caller.
Thank you, Tomalin, and thanks to all of the panelists. Okay, I'm Kalasco. I call you from Marshall. Okay, Timali. Okay, let's say in this case, the court came up with a ruling in favor of Mususka, Laura Mususka. Okay, that is the law, holding everything constant. So in this case, she lost her daughter. Laura Mususka lost her daughter. So can she now, as a mother or a relative to the lady, pursue the case to know who killed her daughter since she's been acquitted?
That's a I mean, nobody has thought about that, but that's a good point you're making. That's a good point. Now, yes, you're right. So now the burden is now. Okay, you're right, Rasco. Yeah, was she now say, okay, so I mean, I'm free, but now I want to find the person who killed my daughter or my who. That's a very, very salient point. Yes.
Yes. So seeing that relative now she's dead. So let she do that. But it's unfortunate, Timothy, like you said. You know, and that's, I think, like my senior brother said, the court of public opinion until Laura Mususka can come and say, that my daughter, she was in my house, she got killed. I was falsely accused. So now I'm taking this matter in my hand. I'm going to court. I'm going through all of the legal means to know who killed my daughter. But to see government official on this kind of sensitive, very sensitive matter, celebrating all on social media, celebrating and making it look like nobody died or nothing happened. We are even considering the fact that other people were sharing tears today because their daughter was killed. And the careless about it is unfortunate. And like Timali, Peabody said, these are signals. And some of these things will be said tomorrow. And posterity.
Oh yeah.
It's our greatest judge in this matter. And we definitely judge her. Thank you.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you, buddy.
And again, like I said, he made a good point though. So exactly. Yeah, now that Laura Mususka is free, now she's being pursued to find out who killed her daughter. So I will fight. I will do everything in my effort. I will make to get the bottom of it. I won't find the person who killed Charlotte. It won't go in vain. But let's see what will happen. Let's see what will happen in the next couple of weeks, days, and months.
So I can tell you exactly what's going to happen. Laura Mususka will get a top position by the end of September. They will appoint her to a position. You know, that's exactly what's going to happen. That was going to be the reward.
The Supreme Court now, I find it concerned, she's declared her, so she's free. So she's an honorary citizen.
That's what I'm saying.
According to the law now, honorary citizen. So now, well, let's see. Because if I'm a senator, except the judge will give that job for confirmation, but any job for confirmation hearing, if the brother they left for the senator and see how they go about.
Oh, Tony, they get that what job for confirmation hearing, she will win again. She'll get it. The fact is,
I mean, for me,
our Supreme Court.
I'm sad because look, you and I got daughters, and even though our daughter 929 or 30 years old now, but they're almost there. And as a father, I mean, I love my children, I love my girls, and to see that little girl. When I see her picture, I see her. I mean, you know, I don't think
But
we celebrating. We shouldn't celebrate as a country. We should be. I thought it would have said, you know, we praise the justice. Justice was the justice system. We got a Supreme Court that come over a final ruling, but at the same time, too, my concern is Shalom Musu. Who killed Shalom Musu? That all should be.
Well, you know what happened when that case took place? They came up and started falsely accusing people.
Yeah, they accused
I remember
Koji.
some of the guys.
Valitale.
Jefferson, Koji, they had to hire lawyers for that nonsense. Because you had Jerome Verder sitting in somewhere here in DC with his organization that's not even registered, sitting and accusing people.
Yeah, that I was surprised the way how they describe it about Koji and this guy. I mean,
but look, that's some of the same thing that brought sanction on a lot of people.
You may not like somebody, but look, I'll tell somebody today in the car. I said, look, when Jesus was leaving earth, what he told us, the greatest commandment he left for us, man, love your neighbor as yourself, and love your God with all your heart and all your mind. And then one of the commandments in the Bible is to not bear false witness against your neighbor. You know,
if Jesus Christ was responding to some of the things we do as human, there's nobody will survive.
But so that's let me on a lie before. So now when you lie, you can say that what? Yeah,
but you know, some people. One of the problems we have, our culture, the people are very envious. They are hateful, and they will bring lies on different kind of people, on people with different things. They'll bring lies and stuff like that. We don't want to say I got fake degree. I was the what school I went to in America. Yo. You know what school I went to? Your big brother, your pocket even go to that school. But let me say yeah. The fact is they are so hateful. When something happens, when it's not your term or you're not in that level, you try to bring lies. And I was disappointed when Jerome Verder brought that lies against people, you know, and people were running all over the place and saying this. Oh yeah, they did that. You know. So it's a very difficult culture we find ourselves in. And I always say that judicial system, that Supreme Court, I'm disappointed. I know some very good people there, very people I'm close to. But I'm telling you, with what I've seen happen today, and that woman could go with both face and stand over there until they're putting down a ruling.
Right? I mean, I thought would I hear they say there was some dissenting opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
I say okay to say 35, right? To say maybe one or two justices had a dissenting views about it. But from what I gather is like all five of them I mean agree that they should overturn the result. And this is what the jury of appeals though. I mean, it's sad.
Yeah, it's really, really sad. And I thought she would send it back to the lower court and say, look, y'all gotta do this, you know, go back and read or y'all, you know, or y'all bring more evidence and stuff like that. But it was just to go up there and sitting there and reading, you know, too many actions said, you know, maybe we'll find out later on who killed her. I would never find out. I would never find out.
I believe that maybe in our lifetime. But I can tell you, Grace and Peabody, look, when I mean, you know, so now I love to watch these things here. These unsolved mysteries. On Sunday when sometimes I watch these unsolved mystery cases that happened that took place years before some were born, right? They can tell you say they found, and mind you, they found the person who committed that murder, and they found them, okay, and they got them. So I believe, and you see somebody said it one day, somebody said it on this day, and they have 4 that are released, right? Now, family, but they say family tree can but I think what happened, something will happen one day. Somebody will say, Sonny, I would talk it, I would tell the people what happened. I would say it all. I would say what happened. Even though it won't matter again, but the idea will know, the people will say, oh, got the person in the house, the person saw what happened. But I saw the report, the police report where said that there was no breaking in the house, no intruder. So for people to say, oh, I mean, for me, enough of partisan business. No, I ain't to that partisan business, but I think I love to be the facts. The fact of the matter is that somebody was killed, somebody killed her. She not killed, she killed herself, you know. But there are people that will also, let's see what happened. That's going to raise a good point. I think what he said, let's see whether they want to pursue justice for the killer of Shalom Musu, since Shalom Musu in her care. Let's see what she will pursue, or she would just and say, but so
Yep.
I guess. Well, who the Amos guy? You're black man.
But why is it they putting the person thing up there? You're black. Seriously?
Who don't put it there? Somebody in the background do nothing there.
But no, he's saying the point. I don't know who put that up, but he said the person is being rude. I don't leave that kid. I mean, you give them attention, you just waste your time. He didn't know what, he doesn't even know what. I'm not even going to argue with somebody what school I went to, stuff like that. These are just
I put that in there. I'm so confused. I didn't know.
Can you guys change the layout?
In the middle, right?
No, not that, but the layout just.
I know who do that in there. Who do play? People
upload. You don't know how to.
I know how to take control. I show you. I don't take part on the table to you. You put picture up and.
Well, the thing that happened with this case is just so sad. And I know somebody was saying that one group of people rejoicing and the other group of people sad, but you gotta understand the people who thought that Gloria Scott never did this, they are happy because they felt that she was wrongfully, put into prison for murder, and most of the evidences they have were contaminated. So at this point, you cannot blame our people for taking sides, although it's not supposed to be that way, because it's a life here that is lost. But we have to understand that for you to put a murder charge on somebody, you have to have real evidence to prove your case. So even if they have circumstantial evidence, the murder, the part that they were guilty of murder, first degree, that was a lot. So if you put in first degree murder on somebody, you have to have good reasons and evidences why that is a first degree murder. So to me, that was the first way that they went wrong. And then Judge Livingston on this, the lawyer came on. He cannot even agree to what the prosecution that they agreed to. He sat on a public platform and they can't even own up to it and say, you know what? I still believe that the woman murder or these people murdered that girl. He cannot even hold on to it.
To be fair to him, he didn't answer with your, but he did say, I stand by my case.
Well, I mean, typically, what was there for him to be so adamant and not want to say yes?
But don't forget now, the man's. I mean, I'm not saying. I know the prosecutor and the justice ministry. They are independent. They don't. Most of them very do their profession. But again, too, you want a Supreme Court to say, oh, I mean, because Supreme Court library could summon you and suspend your license. You know what? That's you question our decision. You will script you. They can suspend you. Can do things. You can fine you. So you have be measured when you.
So let me ask you one question. Since I was still talking, you coming off Tomalin.
Sorry.
So because of that, nobody in Guar will be fair or anything. That's why you're trying to tell us here. But because of job, I know people have to live and people have to carry on a regular lifestyle. They need a job. They need to make money. But this is a human being that lost her life. So if you stay your ground and say you persecuted a case with a bunch of lawyers, you agree that this woman have murdered this girl, and you cannot on a public platform state that I stand with what I said, I stand with this. This is murder, and they did it. And you cannot even say that because of job and whatsoever. Then it's it's a sad place. It is. It is. So for me, I don't have any side at this point in time. I feel sorry for both sides. Shalom Musu lost her life, may her soul rest in peace. I also feel sorry for Gloria Musu's castle because if she did not do it, this kind of burden that is on her and her family is things forever. It's not going to go away. And as you said, maybe by maybe chance, the kids will be, somebody will come out and say something that they saw something. But this is just by chance. It might probably never happen while we're here. It might probably never happen.
We will
You
never
know,
find out. We will
they
never
will never
find out
find her.
who killed her.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but one day, maybe in heaven, God will expose the person.
But the thing is, everybody has a conscience. So everybody left with their conscience. The lawyers left with their conscience. The judges left with their conscience. The Musu family left with their conscience. And they will live with it. Whatsoever happened, they will live with it. But you can't be playing with these kind of cases. It goes back to how our people are not trained properly. They are not trained properly to be able to investigate these matters. The thing happened and the woman they just went there and started checking the woman's house, hauling things down, doing, you know, the place was not protected. They never had any yellow tape to protect the place, to keep evidence safe and everything. They're saying that this girl had a male DNA on her fingernail. They did not specify whether the male DNA was a scratch or she had human flesh on her fingernail as if male DNA, or was just a sweat from somebody maybe taking her to the hospital that were under her fingernails. So all those little things. And for you to put a murder charge on somebody and you're not sure, and that's the problem. And so we don't want to do the whole partisan thing, and that's what Liberians always do. And that's why we can't get to our fullness because of all the partisan. One group of people saying, oh, because of this, and our party free her, the other group of people say because the other person persecute her. No, Liberians need to really get together and try to think. Our mindset is ready not to the place it's supposed to be because the whole political partisan thing has destroyed the thoughts of Liberians. It is to the core.
Yep, it's sad, Grace. Julia, Sylvester, welcome back. It's really sad, you know. As I said, I don't want to give up on I don't want to disrespect the Supreme Court, but look, let me say this.
So Dr. Peabody.
So let me announce this quick, yeah. Tomorrow, okay. I pray that Lofa will be on the show tomorrow. Tomorrow we have as guest the project manager for the Liberian National Training in ICT Project, the Liberian Digital Transformation Training Project, Mr. Wanyi V. Zawi. He'll be our guest tomorrow to talk about the 10,000 training in ICT project, the Liberian Digital Transformation Training. And he'll be our guest tomorrow to talk about this launched by the LTA that are trying to bring computer in our schools. So by the time our students graduate from high school, from school in abroad, will all be computer literate. So so tomorrow you come on the show. Tomorrow he'll be our guest, and so come and let us hear from the brother to tell us about this program that was launched by President Boyka, and to put computers in the school. Let's see what happens tomorrow. So all the IT people, for me, I'm not. All I do when I go to work, I just log in my computer. I log in my password. I put it there. All your other stuff.
Look like an IT man. I try reading books about IT just to operate my
tomorrow
own.
We got a caller on the line. I was trying to get him on here. He's calling from.
Look out tomorrow for the show tomorrow. We'll have a show tomorrow about the IT business. So guys, you'll come. Let us engage Mr. Zawi.
Okay, so the caller from South Korea. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me say good evening there to everybody. I think the show is very good. I think you guys handle the show in the right manner. We always in the back. We always enjoy from you guys and also enjoy from people who come on the show to correct their mistakes. As we all say, this is how Nigeria works. I mean, sometimes we say what we have to say, but this is how our country goes. We get nothing to say about it. We get nothing to do about it. Everybody is working down there for their bellies. If you see a councillor cannot even answer a simple question, he's there. I mean, why you come on the show if you cannot answer a question? If you can't solve the question that people give to you, then why are you here? Or you just come here to make us angry more? I mean, This is not the first time it happened. This girl who was slaughtered, unfortunately, they released the guy because of what? Because no reason. Because like we have no law. Everybody go after their own belly. So this is how like your work. Sometimes if we sit on the radio, we talking things about like bro, let us also remind ourselves we're just talking because we love our country. You know what I'm saying? But nothing working like real. Absolutely nothing working like real. If the judiciary can work like this, it means that nothing working like real. The executive is working nothing. The judiciary is working nothing. The legislature is working nothing. What do you expect from Liberia now? Nothing, absolutely nothing. We should not waste our life. A lot of the things need to end on this note. What I was wanting to ask this lawyer on the show is, I hope people statement on this radio or on this show will not on the tomorrow. You understand what I'm saying? Because we are asking the hard questions here, we're forgetting what will happen beyond us if we go to Liberia. This is happening. So thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
I got actual fact when the computer that went so yeah, crazy. Well, guys, let me share with you. Somebody listen to the show. I won't call the person name, please. You want to ask me, please. The person listen to the show, person rarely following the show. They said, look, please remind those on the panel that even here in the great United States, the majority of criminal convictions are based solely on circumstantial evidence. In the absence of direct evidence, lawyers evaluate circumstantial evidence to determine whether they make reasonable argument before a jury. Historically, this has proven to be a very effective in the U.S. Our justice system is based directly on the data of the U.S. What I expected was that the Supreme Court would have remanded the case back to the lower. Somebody said earlier, remanded the case back to the lower court.
I did, Tomalin. I said it.
Retry if they found legal and other procedural errors.
Yes.
I'm not familiar enough with the coaching I brought to know how much often. Yes, somebody said it's true.
I said it.
Yeah.
So Tim,
said it. Should I send it back if you didn't want to rule in it? Look, that lawyer is smart. I should have sent it right back.
Because that takes away from the possibility of us honestly getting justice for this entire thing, right? The few things that I took away from this entire conversation with Councilor Livingstone, what I realized is the mere fact that he wasn't even sincere in answering the question as to what he believed in all of the evidence that he was providing. Look, the reason why one would even decide to take on a case, I'm not a legal practitioner, and there is no way on earth I will consider myself as one. But I have friends who practice or are in the field. A lot of time, the reason why they will ask you for consultation is because they want to probe in to know exactly what they're getting into. Okay? And in this case, they were opportune to have all of the information. Did they do their evaluation of all of the evidence that were provided in the first place? When the case was won at the lower court and they celebrated, then again, the accused or the alleged perpetrator decided to go to the Supreme Court. Did they go back to evaluate all of the evidence so that they can actually do what was in the best interest? So for the prosecutor to come here and say he cannot speak to whether he had confidence in the evidences that were provided, it made me to feel like there is no reason why anybody should believe in the prosecutors in Liberia, because they are solely relying on hearsay. They are not utilizing the opportunity that is provided to them. Again, you're not even trying to invest a little bit of scientific evidence to provide some little bit of substance. Kind of just give that foundation to your argument. I've listened to a lot of my colleagues who are in the legal field. When they sit and they're going back and forth with just over beer, something they'll just be going back and forth, and you're listening to them referencing historical cases or some of these things, and you wonder, okay, how is it that our folks who are supposed to be prosecutors or defenders are not doing this. And this is the second major case. The young woman who thought was actually cut, that again got kicked out of court at the Supreme Court, I wouldn't believe. This young woman, again, now we have 2 victims.
That was not the Supreme Court. Supreme Court have not taken that case yet.
They have not taken the case?
I think from the Sacred Court.
Okay, so at the Circuit Court. Okay, so but this time around, I think it was based on the same issue of not enough evidence.
Yes.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes,
right? Not enough evidence. But then we also go back on the prosecutors. Are they not doing due diligence to do their own investigation, to do their background research, make sure that they are probing, getting all of the information from the investigators or the police before they try to pursue these cases in court, or they are just incompetent? And I think that's what the counselor did not want to hear. But we are not opportune to the data that's telling us how many cases you won thus far. And even if that was the case, at this point in time, this is one of the biggest cases that we are now talking about on the social media and everywhere else. So why is it that we are not focusing on that? I don't understand.
Let me ask the question. Is this the same case that Dylan accused Musa Benedict on?
Yes. That's the same case. That Dylan and Kim were accused
Okay, this is the thank you.
That's the same case.
I'm glad you mentioned that. We got a call on the line here. Joseph Colley. Joseph Colley, go ahead. Let's hear from you. Where are you calling from?
Yeah, I'm calling from New York. From my brothers and sisters on the phone. It's just crazy.
It's low though.
This thing because pretty much it's like, for me, it seems like it's favoritism. A lot of them are in the judiciary because this is their colleagues and this is unfolding. I just saw the little girl, because I don't think justice is being served the way the matter is going. Because they all know Gloria Scott, and it shouldn't be like this. This is not how things are supposed to be. And this is how we keep going. We're not improved at all. Because you know me, I know you, and this person, so we can be brave to take action against perpetrators, and it's not correct. That's how, for me, I see it, because justice is not served.
Thank you.
That's not how it's supposed to be.
Thank you,
brother.
Thank you. Guys, I'm gonna close the phone lines. Go ahead.
Yeah. Basically, in criminal, and too many you just read a text message. I thought if someone is sending a text message that you're gonna read on the show, you should call the person. No, you always want to show this and that. There's nothing special about somebody. If you come up with the kind of opinion and you try to hide yourself beyond the scene, I don't think it's not in all cases. And I again disagree with him on the line that going back to the Sacred Court, it's not in all cases the Supreme Court will rule that way. The Supreme Court felt that the process to the application of justice, there was a lot of flaw in the process, and the way you went about it in terms of producing those evidence and other things. If the Supreme Court's application today, the ruling today, further justified that the judge in the Sacred Court would have found them, the ruling should have been non-guilty, basically. That's what the Supreme Court trying to say. It's not trying to say, well, there's a retrial. It's on the basis there was a lot of fundamental error in the litigation process. No. If it was based on the issue of fundamental error in the litigation process, the Supreme Court would have called for a retrial. What the court is saying, that there's no enough evidence to convict these people. Even if you are to go back, what the other people push out. Now, we're spending most time on the basis of circumstantial evidence versus scientific evidence. But yeah, I do agree that circumstantial evidence are fast, but more or less. For the case, what the person that text you didn't say, for the case of murder or attempted murder, there should be a proper intent established by the prosecution. There have to be a realistic intent. And there were the same thing about the white guy that got involved with this other lady there. The intent, if you cannot establish the intent and the evidence to corroborate those of the intent, it's a problem in the murder case, because any iota of doubt is in the favor of the defendant. And that we're in the process about both criminal case against the government laborer versus ordinary person in a criminal case, there where you see a lot of things can happen sometimes. Any iota of doubt, right? And these are the issue that we have to be very mindful in the process. And that's one of the reasons why folks will say litigation is very expensive and it's systematically time consuming. We have to be mindful as to how we want to dive into those things. And the first line of the justice system in our country is the Liberian National Police. We will now have to train the Liberian National Police, provide the police with the requisite instruments that we need. Because the police is not prepared to do those things, they will go and prematurely charge and go to court and the case get dismissed. I mean, it's wrong. We have to learn to support the police. Put some money in the budget for the police. It's important for our country security. If the forensic department of the American National Police was somehow equipped to have, listen, the guy that killed those 4 students in Idaho some time ago.
The 4 girls, yeah.
Yes, those 4 university, 3 girls and a guy. The university students. How did they get him? It was through something they call DNA genealogy.
Yes.
DNA genealogy. That's how they got him. And it's something else. They got him because he died. He died went to trash.
Trash. Yes. You follow that case.
To those means. And we have the police. We have to deploy a lot of forensic process. We don't need millions of dollars to do those things to get those small equipments even in the area. And as Grace was saying just now, very performed that she stated just now, the issue about that piece of DNA that was left in on our nails. That was very profound to the case. If we had a strategic, and this time, bro, we have some DNA testing issue there. Go and do that and run it.
I hope we're making effort to have a forensic laboratory for the national police.
We need to have it. The police need it. We have a forensic team.
Look, if you have Yara forensic lab, you get most of this stuff then.
Yes. But I wanted to ask you a question.
Another guy, you see, I'm surprised at this guy.
He's the only person who really had a little bit of legal mind on this thing. So I won't ask you a question. So do you think that they are going to open the investigation on this Shalom Musu since nobody now is found guilty? What do you think is the next step for the Liberian government to do? Since because all the cases that are coming for, like the police, Gregor Como just closed the 3 missing boys case.
Yeah.
He came and he just closed it just like that. You know, so it's just so scary that all the people just dying like that and nothing coming out.
But Grace, that's the missing case. That's the missing case. You find that case, Grace. The body were on the people because they were asking that what they were trying to do. They were trying to do Sase Wubene, and Musa didn't say you're not going to pursue it.
No, but not issue of pursuing that. And now the Sase Wu thing is what we will call trial by ordeal.
Yeah, but
trial by ordeal does not exist in our jurisprudence.
Exactly. So they said, "Musa didn't say you're not going to go. You say I'm going for that thing like that."
No, but it's not even applicable on our laws.
How can I say, "But you come forward"? They said they want to start.
Yeah, so they dismissed that case. They said Moses. I know they call the police stepping that. They say he's not found guilty on that. But this case,
but they did not even want him for negligence, though. He was the reason why those people, the boys.
Yeah, there should have been negligence and damages paid to the family. Now, even if they have drowned, there have been negligence and damage paid to the family. But on the issue of Shalom Musu case, for this man that they declared in today, you cannot bring them back on that. But here's what government can do. If government believes that they got evidence, hard evidence, you can re-indict them. That is possible. You can re-indict them with new evidence. That would be a totally new case in this matter.
Yes, for this government.
No, I'm not saying that for them to re-indict them, but I want them to reopen the case for investigation.
It can be.
Yeah, if you put that hard evidence, it's possible.
Wait. With the Supreme Court decision, you can reopen the case.
You do a new investigation.
Yeah, you can conduct a new investigation, but you cannot reopen this case, though.
No, you can conduct a new investigation. If there's more evidence to move back, you can re-indict them.
Could I say something, right?
That would be a new case.
So that would be a new case. But I think Grace's question here is, can you reopen this case?
No.
It can be. So you got
a new case.
It have to be new.
Yeah.
This girl, they have to.
That's true, Grace. But Grace, don't have Grace. Could I say earlier, right? Now, if send the free the woman out, right? They have freedom. So, but then we still not found who care Charlotte. So now we want to go. We still want to push the government. Say, please investigate who want to find the murder of Charlotte.
Right.
Well, can we? Tomalin, though, can I ask this question? Can we consider Councilor Verdier to be hopefully a part of this entire process if it is to be reopened, because he admitted on a platform that he had fights to this. So now that
they're losing talking, he was a loose talker.
See, we're talking about human life.
Lofa, you did good point, but Lofa,
We're talking about human. This is a man who sat there and falsely, as we are looking at it, folks are claiming that he falsely accused Jefferson Koji of being a part of it. So this young man now will have to live with that, with that stigma on him. So can we also use this as an opportunity to bring Verdier so that he can testify? Where are those evidence that he had?
I agree with you on that.
We should consider that. I mean, let us see if we can reach to the United States.
But I get Verdier. I tell you for true. In terms of Verdier, he will not come. He will not come to that. Don't try it. He will not come here for that case. He won't come.
It's a loose cannon, right?
He already said already.
He just talk loosely.
He's only right. Even though he said something crazy, I don't like. But he said something that makes sense. Now he says something now. Joman Jala. He said too. The woman can come out tomorrow and say she's suing the government for wrongful.
Oh yes, but she's gonna do that. She's gonna do that.
Joman Jala, even though he trying to put a blame on CDC that probably got with him.
The only reason why she will not do that if the system, if she read close to this Rudy establishment, they decide to do something. But I know I've interacted. I sat in a cycle with her before. I remember inside the Kupi office. I know the kind of person she is. Councilor Musu Scott is going to go to court. She's going to sue government for damage. She's going to do that. And you know what she's going to do that? You know what she's going to do that for? She's going to do that to close the whole case so government can not be on the defense.
The one say she saw the person in face and she pepper sprayed the person.
And pepper sprayed the person.
Yes.
So I mean, but it must, and mind you,
then Councilor Vera said, well, this guy, they got Kuniko.
They must sue the government, and then see they pay off money. But look.
Listen, do you know the reason why they withdrew Bobby Livingston as deputy minister? Because he played Roy in this case.
Nah, people come together now.
You see that? The reason why they withdrew him as deputy information minister because the role he played in this case.
So what evidence you got, PB?
Simple. I go back to the city councilor.
But you wait. For grace,
substantial evidence. We reasoning that the doctor reasoning. Grace, yes, they appointed the man, right? The man go to confirmation hearing. Then somebody, the phone call. They call the person and say, "Oh, that man prosecuting Guar Mususkado, your lawyer."
Yes.
They say, "Oh."
You have a good point now.
Oh yeah, that's it. But listen, we in the cycle of the politics that we hear everything. That man prosecuting your lawyer. I mean, the woman has served as lawyer for United Party. Oh, that man. No, man, I'm going to get that job. You are getting up.
Today, last thing happened history today. Today is the same day that Martin Luther gave that iconic speech. Yeah, I have a dream. Today, and also Kabina Jana was removed as Justice of the Supreme Court on the same day too.
Yeah, today. Yeah.
Nothing happened on this day. Then today in history, Liberia, a landmark case. The former Chief Justice, former Electoral Commission Chairman, former Senator, former Minister of Justice. Her verdict of murder was overturned by the Supreme Court of Liberia.
Former United Party lawyer.
And she was set free. And who are lawyer? Her lawyer was Kabina Janet.
Yeah.
So Tomalin,
go ahead, Lofa. When you finish, I will speak.
Go ahead.
No, this is just to say to the Liberian people, our country has been hijacked. We sitting down here talking. Sometimes it's funny, but it's very serious.
Sure, don't joke with that.
It's very serious. The people cannot even prosecute a murder case in the country's history. You have never seen it. Nobody have ever for them to just get the person, except it's a lay person on the street who don't have any weight. Before that person might probably go to jail for murder, they will confess to it. But you have ever seen any high-profile case in that bro being persecuted and the person go to jail and serve that time that the court get in? Never. That's the reason why we need to change our freaking direction to the right place. These two parties, they need to be gone as soon as yesterday. 2029 coming. Your children lives in danger, or I can always say your children lives in danger, your future generation of children, they were lacking a lot of things. And if you don't put your foot down and say, you know what, it's time for us to change, the real change that we're supposed to have that transformation is not going to happen for Liberia. And it's just time for us to sit here. That girl picture, when I look at her picture, every time it breaks my heart. Princess Cooper and Odell. I mean, children, just the young girls and young boys just die. I have seen a little boy being raped in Liberia. When they put him on the bed to send me the video for us to support him, you could see straight in his rectum. I mean, how is it that these people destroy children in a country where believe in Christian principles? How do you destroy your future generation of children? Shalom Musu was a smart girl. She was going to school. She could have served Liberia and gave her knowledge to the country. Her life was just taken away. And they just messed up all the evidence. And everybody confused. We don't know what to say. Some people say this, some people say that. And we just there sitting there and watching. Liberians, you're open your eyes.
So let me start with the question that Grace asked. How can you just sit there and destroy your future generation? It's easy. Prevent funding for education, quality education. Prevent funding for quality health care. That's another way that they can do it. Prevent quality security for the population. If you are to just do your own assessment of what is happening in Liberia, you will come to the realization that government after government, generation after generations, they have never invested in the generation after. To invest in the generation after is not simply to buy them bags of rice, pairs of shoes, or a car. Education, quality health care, state-of-the-art security to protect the people are things that will support. Those are basic necessities for any government. Unfortunately, they purposely ignore all of those things because, again, like I said before, and Peabody argue with me on this, 95% of the government officials, their kids are not in Liberia. They are not victims of the situation. I said this earlier on my personal page. Had this been the child of a government official, a former government official, or one of our self-proclaimed lawmakers who are serving as lawbreakers, you probably would have gotten something more than what you got today. But how could you expect to get anything for Charlotte? Charlotte mom had to take her out of the village, send her to town, okay, to acquire better and quality education. That woman probably somewhere today, she's crying. She's probably on her knees, asking God, why me? The father who expected his daughter to now be the one to make him feel proud, happy. You know how girls are with their fathers. He's sitting somewhere as a victim. And you know what? It will not change until we change our mindset. Often we see how people try to politicize the entire process, but at the end of the day, we all end up as victims of our own actions. You think you're hurting Grace, Tomalin, Dr. Peabody, or somebody else on this platform by simply supporting a political party that you know definitely don't have what it takes to move Liberia forward. But you support them because you feel, oh, this person oppose the inability to lead. We can't. That young lady ended up as another victim. Grace named 3 other people who were victims of our poor judiciary system. I listen here again, and I want to end on this note. It is sad. It is very sad to see that these individuals who are part of the system, their kids are not in Liberia to end up as victims, but our poor mothers, our sisters, our brothers who cannot afford are often victimized because we just don't have it. We are the country boys. We just don't have anything. We can't afford the money to whether the loudmouth Eugene Franco and other people can come and invoke these kind of divisive politics all the time, and it resonates with the people. But when it's time to actually prosecute people for their actions, nothing happened. I saw one of our lawmakers today was actually publicly celebrating.
For real?
Yes, there was a lawmaker. The video is out there. You would think that these things supposed to be done behind closed. Even if you celebrate the decision, it should be done behind closed door. Reach out to the family and congratulate them. But this individual was seen on camera in solidarity with Gloria Musu Scott.
Who the person?
I don't know his name specific, but I can find the video. If you guys can continue,
one about these things.
It was based on the county solidarity that he went there. As a matter of fact, he was mentioned multiple times when he appeared at the scene, and he went to the house of Madame Gloria Musu Scott. Okay, let me find that video, and I'll share with the
guy is Bibo Brown from Maryland.
There you go. Thank you. Thank you.
He's a lawmaker from Maryland.
He's from CDC, right?
I don't know his political.
Whether he's from CDC or from UP, at the end of the day, though, he represents every Liberian. The fact that he was seen openly celebrating.
And a very shout out Musu from very Maryland also. Yes, you see.
You see what I'm talking about?
You see, look, for me, I don't take my look here. This tribal team, right? I'll tell you again. I'm from Riverses. My mom from Basso. I was born and raised in Magibi. I identify with Magibi. But not because of that, I will back somebody from Magibi or Basso if do wrong. I would be the one to say, deal with them on a serious note. But guys, look, let us touch quickly. I will go about 10 more minutes.
No, Tomalin, before we touch anything, I just wanted to say something quickly. Gloria Musu Scott. Now that you have been set free and the people clear you, we hope that you fight for justice for your daughter, Charlotte. Charlotte is your daughter. She was murdered in your house. So we expect you to fight for justice for her. Since they're saying that you did not kill her, and you said you and the people that they found guilty did not kill that girl. So and you know the law, you are justice, you work in the justice system before as the head. We expect you to fight for justice for Charlotte Musu Scott. Charlotte Musu. Thank you. I wanted to say, and then to the local on the platform, and he was looking for a job. The man get a job. LPS would never be the same again. That's what he says. So you think to come from who again? You know
somebody. I think I put in the chat room yesterday, but I know you guys. Everybody can hear from. Also hear from, but people are saying this is increasing that International Anti-Corruption Day, December 9th. People expect sanctions to be coming up. Okay, but what are you guys hearing there? Peabody, what are you hearing out there about these sanctions? I keep hearing it. I'm in a chat room where a lot of people there that are very knowledgeable of stuff. They get information, and most of the time they say these things, they come to pass. And yesterday the person said 5% will be sanctioned by before Christmas.
I was told 3. And
3 permanent government out there because and mind you, International Anti-Corruption Day, December, it comes all the time. Though they want to put your hand down the sanction. Do you guys think that it's too early?
Yeah,
but what are you guys thinking?
Yeah, before Grace was saying that, before I go there quickly, Gloria Scott is saying today that there are numerous instances of injustice in our country that need urgent attention.
But our first comment now.
Yeah, she went on to say, if they could do this to me, a former Chief Justice of the Republic of Liberia, imagine what could happen to the poor and those living in the rural areas. Now, so basically, and you're right, Grace, I think they should now, if she's indeed innocent, she needs now to govern out all of her necessary prowess in terms of being a former chief justice, former justice minister. She's well-rounded. She's just a very educated woman from the Southeast Maryland county. She's a very educated woman. And with the influence that I will count on her, and particularly with her proximity to this current ruling establishment, so that they can push in finding the killer of her niece and her niece and the rest of that. Now, back to this issue about, I will be a little surprised. And again, when I say something, sometimes folks can say, I will be, I will be a little surprised if there's going to be a sanction come this December. But I wouldn't be surprised if there's sanction after the first anniversary of this administration, if the process continues the way it's going. Now, December, January is not far, but again, I would be a little surprised. I would want to wait and see basically what's it, because part of the issue there, what we targeting for now in terms of what is unfolding, and to have the job done in this place, what I would advise any Liberian government to do is what Madam Salif did. Any government in Liberia, what we advise them to do is what President Salif engaged in when she took on the helm of authority of the executive mansion. Madam Salif were very focused on Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is the world's most powerful capital city. If you're a third world country like Liberia, a struggling country that rely on America in terms of most of your development agenda, you have to focus on D.C. and ensure that you have some major lobbyists strategically deployed to do some heavy lifting on your behalf. If you cannot have someone that will be the shock absorber or do heavy lifting, there will be something or that will deflect the unnecessary target to your government, you headed somewhere. That's why you need a foreign minister that is very proactive, that is engaging, a foreign minister that got the rapprochement to engage in different tactical means so that a lot of things can happen. And I would think any government that wants to succeed doing that, you have to do it. Because President Sadi herself did the heavy lifting. She took the phone, called individual here in Washington, said to them this is happening. That's one of the reasons why you didn't see Lofa, everyone on the show this evening. Did you hear anyone sanction in Madam Sadi government?
Peewee, let me just answer that question in a short way though, right?
Yeah.
In order for one to pick up the phone and call, you must already have that connection established. For me to pick up a phone to call Grace and say, hey,
And
Grace,
I agree.
do this, you must already have that relationship, right? For me to call Tomalin and Tomalin look at a phone call and be like, okay, oh, that's Lofa. I should have that relationship. There is no way on earth I would just pick up, you would just answer my call. You, Peewee, if I were to just dial your number and you look at it, you don't know me, we have no connection. First of all, you will consider me a telemarketer. Not looking, I'm looking at it from the even if you're looking at it from the global or international stage. So the reality here is, President Barkai, there is nowhere that we can pinpoint to say, oh, that network exists for him. So in order to make that happen, he will have to use other media. You have to use lobbyists to create that connection for him. And in order to do that, he had to take money out of our coffer in order to invest in that. And it is not just, it is not instantaneous, all right? It is process driven, all right? And the progress to that is what Liberians are going to be looking up to say, okay, how far are we? Madame Salif, on the other hand, she had built that relationship. She had it, and she was the darling girl of the Western world. So to some extent, she benefited from that, especially after the fact that we came from on uncivilized, people say a civil war, uncivilized war where we kill ourselves, to the extent where she benefited to say she's the first female president. And so she benefited from all of the SS that came with it. Other than that, I mean, I don't think President Barker has what it takes to really pull that plug. And if you're going to wait for it, maybe his second term, though, his second term in office, then they will probably consider him. If, I mean, as I'm hearing, he intends to run for a second term. So I know probably Grace don't want to hear this, but that's the truth. He intends to run for a second term.
Let me say this. Let me ask a question, right? But on a serious note, right? For me, I don't know, but I keep hearing this. I believe the sanction will happen. And that's what people we're afraid of. they put in the position on our game. We can bow down and succumb. But I think what's going to happen. I'm sure it will happen. The people that give information, they are credible. The same people that told me about the first one and came to pass. But Pee-wee, quickly, right? But Lofa, you said something quickly but before don't forget now, the Bulgarian administration now they are moving towards the Asian countries now.
Okay.
The vice president was in India last week. The foreign minister is in Japan. Now Bulgaria is on the way to Indonesia and China. So perhaps they are heading that direction for to do other support. But Pee-wee, quickly. Yesterday the ECOWAS delegation was in town, right?
Yes.
Now, what's your? I mean, yeah, what I'm hearing, right? That the meeting with the ECOWAS mission chairman and the Bulgarian administration did not go well, because I would say that because the guy who came yesterday in the country, the same guy who appointed former Prime Minister came here. He appointed him to be the ECOWAS representative in Sierra Leone.
Yes.
But this government, to the foreign minister and the minister of state, they went and they rejected it. So they rejected Kemia being appointed for that job. So the guy was not happy with it. He wanted Kemia. He said, but if Kemia can get it, the person you're sending to me, I will not get that person a job. So today Liberia lost that slot. So, but yesterday when the guy came, when he met with Boyka, we are at Jamaica Resort. Hey, other than where he came back to me, Boyka.
So who got the chairman to read?
Uma Toure guy. But then, when I saw some of UP friends are putting posts on about condemning ECOWAS, I knew people, why it tells you that everything did not go good, because they were like seeing ECOWAS, they're not dependable, ECOWAS, they can't settle the decision in Guinea, or Burkina Faso, in Mali. So problem was there. So, but what your take in the diplomatic circle? What do you think happened in those meetings? What do you think was the message from the ECOWAS commission chairman to Guar and Boyka? What do you think after he met with Boyka, he want to be with Guar? You think Guar told you something that made him go back to Boyka?
Oh yeah. Hopefully, diplomacy is basically signals, and the rest of that you have to engage. They can have diplomacy and soft diplomacy, right? So the approach first and foremost was a kind of a soft level of diplomacy that he engaged with to hear from both sides and the rest of that. But what unfolded yesterday from part of some government official, if I would want to call it, middle June official of government posting on Facebook, I mean that was completely outside of diplomatic channels. What something coming from Boyka Jariba yesterday saying that I think if the president were to engage into this personally, he was to ask them or warn and reprimand those that want to do those things. And I think it was wrong, totally wrong what they did yesterday, was to try to preempt the process of what unfolded, because the ECOWAS came out with a statement also. And for me, I hate preempt. In diplomacy, we don't preempt. What we do, we wait to hear from what is revolving around the process to come up with a conclusive decision. Now, the ECOWAS delegation came up with a statement, said they have 100% confidence in the government of Liberia and looking and working with them. That was a statement coming from the ECOWAS and the rest of that. There are a lot of issues that came out, and Boyka reassured them that the country would maintain his honor, his watch. There will be a maintenance of democracy and the rest of this. On the Kenyan issue, this Kenyan issue came out very strongly also. And the government of Liberia reliably, that is it. The government of Liberia reliably told him yesterday that the reason why they are objecting to Kenya because of Kenya's sexual harassment process. That's what they pushed yesterday, in yesterday's meeting. They brought that. They said they don't want Kenya because of the sexual harassment case against him in New York. That's what and that process in our meeting with the president and foreign minister conveyed that to Mr. Toure, that they won't take Kenyan process. They won't allow Kenya to sit there. The only way they would allow Kenya until they investigate this case about this sexual harassment process. So the Liberian government using the sexual harassment and the letter that are written to the foreign ministry, they show that letter to him. They give order the letter to him. It's a very close diplomatic process. So that's why they came up with the whole issue of the process. So they told the ambassador that, hey, we don't have problem with Kenya, because the ambassador projected to them that why I said you have problem with one of your own. They said no. Our concern is, if you have some international dam on your reputation, you cannot represent our country. It's free time. And that's the position currently of the Liberian government and they are now waiting for the ECOWAS president, whosoever, Mr. Toure, ambassador, to respond to that. So they gave in the complaint coming from alcohol, warning, the complaint and other things. And my information of what I got also closely is that there's other complaint. They said that were allegedly filed against Kimia on about his domestic help that was living with him in New York. So basically, so this is a very deeply convoluted, complicated moving to those things. So yeah, that's basically the case, and that's why they said that the reason why they were opposing Kimia, but the ECOWAS ambassador Thames was insisting that they believe Kimia was the best candidate to do the representation. They interacted with him, they did this and the rest of that. But again, before I end here quickly, the reason in diplomacy is that the reason why the government is refusing is that because this representation is about one of the member of head of states. And the higher body of ECOWAS is the member of head of states. And President Boaka is a member of the Council of Head of States of ECOWAS. He's one of the senior. So his decision, he can override any decision coming from that level of the representation. So if they insisting that Kenya got this problem, they cannot. I think it will be very difficult for Kenya to get this post.
So, but
Hey, just fair, Tomalin. Did you hear where people explain this?
No, but Grace.
People with steam on their record cannot represent.
No, but Grace, issue about Kenya without rape case, Grace. You ask Peabody, ask Ben. They know they have that whole case there. Honestly, that case, if you go through that case or two, Kenya was vindicated for that case. I'm telling you.
Which case? Which one? Because years and myself know that there was one person that had that case. There was three individuals involved in that case, and the FBI was involved in the case.
Grace, we're not going to talk about that case there because I don't want to waste our time. But Grace, that girl, if we show you text messages from that girl,
who girl?
The girl who accused and came here.
Are you talking about Wani? I know.
Yeah, like Wani coming.
But Wani case is just a piece of the case that against Kimia. It was just a little drip of water of the case against Kimia.
That we saw evidence. We saw evidence for that evidence on that girl.
So quickly, let me ask you a quick question, right? So Tomalin, can I ask you a quick question? Let me ask you.
My point, Tomalin, I'm not making opinion on it, right? That's the justification they're giving.
No, but
the government abroad giving.
But also too, they when the ECOWAS people met, they also said that they praise Weah for his concession at the early concession, and also for transferring for watching on smooth transfer of power. Okay, and they recommended it for that. But why it came prompted the ECOWAS people to leave from Weah and go back to Boyka? It was just because I know.
That may have been.
Talk about consolidating the peace in the country.
Yes.
They consolidating the peace in the country, that you cannot be leading this country and just forget about the opposition too. Obviously, part of the consolidate the peace of the country, new opposition to be involved.
Exactly.
So it too.
So Tomalin, here's my thing, right?
Yeah.
Let me use this opportunity. If what Pee-wee is saying here, okay, that their justification for denying Kimaya that opportunity, I want to use this opportunity to thank the Boyka-led government for not making my stand in the rain to go unnoticed and my walk in New York all around, because we went to New York, we asked President George Weah, okay, to rescind his offer to get rid of Kimaya.
Why?
Right? Because of the rape case, that in itself is a stigma on the nation, of the representation of Liberia. Okay,
Ismail accused you with no evidence.
That is the reason why we were asking. Not only we were asking him to pull the case and then make sure that they went through the process. Unfortunately, they refused to go through the entire process. Darius DeLon and other people at the time, he had not been the senator. He was also in support of this. What I'm saying here, if that is the justification, it will serve as a deterrent.
But you were wrong.
Tomalin, you need to stop saying. Can I speak, Tomalin?
I don't have the position. Who they go to I did not know.
Okay.
Judas, again, 1 minute, please. Judas, again, my where I got information, that's the position they gave ECOWAS. That is, I can assure you, that's the position they gave ECOWAS. And they didn't even say it by having a conversation. They produced evidence to ECOWAS. They gave those complaints to ECOWAS. That's the position they gave them. But that's all that's what they did. And I'm informed, yeah.
They appointed somebody else for that job.
Of course.
Now, don't want to be appointed. Don't want to be appointed yet.
The Liberian government person for that job, but ECOWAS rejected it too. I'm telling you.
Yeah. But Tomalin, let me ask you something quick now. Let me ask you something quick for 2 seconds. Okay. The case against, and I had nothing against Kemeya. I actually like the guy. But the case against Kemeya, we did not listen to the Liberian people cry. He appointed this man. They said, don't appoint him. He said, after they went to the Senate, they said, don't confirm it. We are then said, no, the case against Kemeya don't have anything to do with Wani Cummings case so much. Wani Cummings case is just a drip in the bucket. There were 2 other people, 2 other girls that came as help to Kemeya in America here. That's the main case they had against Kemeya. And the American people, when they get evidence against you, there is no way you will say that I brought up a many people start coming for coming to America. That was not it. FBI was involved in the case on Kemeya with the abuse of the other 2 girls that were in his home. And they have video evidence.
Stop it, man. Stop it.
So the Liberian government would not allow people like that to represent our country.
Tomalin, are you saying what Grace is saying is a lie?
No, Lofa. Part of the case, Lofa. Yeah. The basic line on this issue about what President Weah did at the time, President Weah acted because there was no evidence. The president acted. No. The president could not just move because he was act, right? There was no evidence to prove that Kemeya was guilty at the time, right? And even up to current, they have not produced anything yet to the Liberian government, right? To the Liberian government.
So has it?
But what
has the government done about it? So within their jurisdiction, what have they done to make sure that their case could be laid to rest? So have they invested time in investigating and making sure that the case is heard? What happened on an international? So because remember, I read a comment on here. Somebody say, "What about Mo Ali?" Mo Ali case is a national issue, but we're talking about an international case that have to do. You're talking about international. It have a whole lot to do on what are you talking about?
Lofa. What I know about this case is that at the time when that letter came first, there was this line about when the Senate had the hearing of the confirmation, they asked, but there was no back and forth on anything. That's Dan Mariah was the chair of the Senate Foreign Committee. They went through the process. They believed that there was nothing sufficient to stop the confirmation, and they moved forward the confirmation process. But what I do know, when those communications came, then I was still Assistant Minister of Public Affairs. I saw some of those communications when she wrote the communication to the Liberian Senate. At the time, before even I resigned, when I resigned, after I left the ministry, there was a time last year, Winnie have invited, there was this issue, this altercation that was unfolding between Winnie and one of the staff. I think it was the Chargé and what have you, on the same matter of Kemeya. And 2 members of the NYPD even went at our office in New York last year. It was, and at the time she took the phone and placed a call to the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Heron Fomunet. And as last year, President Weah even dismissed Fomunet due to that particular issue, right? According to the process, I don't have the details, but Fomunet dismissal came from that, meaning he took a call from Winnie, and there was the NYPD in the building, and it brought some level of stigma to the Liberian government and the rest of that. Now, this has been going back and forth. But again, what I'm told, and again, we as analysts, as pundits, we want to sit behind the scene, we'll get information behind the scene. What I'm told yesterday is that they provided those documentation to the ambassador and said to the ambassador, beyond Winnie case, there's an additional case. Okay. And they also emphasize, thank you. I don't know about the rest of what they're saying. I don't know the details, but what I'm told, they are justifying their reason for stopping Kemeya. According from the foreign minister, they're saying that the reason they don't want anybody to go with this kind of a dent on their
Scandal.
to move in. So can they prove this? Have they proven it? Have they shown it up? Will they came here because our justice system called for people to be here? Have you?
Look,
right? I read the letter. You see, I will share with you. The letter, the communication from the government I brought to ECOWAS, I read the communication. Nothing about what you're saying was in a letter there. What are we
well, because this was an official communication that needed to be public. They weren't going to involve. They put that part of it in it.
That's the point. I read it. It wasn't like what you're saying about the man.
You guys and the rest of us went to New York and stood in the ring. You think we just went there? Go when
I saw I was in New York. I saw you. Where was Jonathan?
About that case.
What do you mean? What we're doing?
Where was Jonathan?
We were telling we are not to appoint him here to investigate.
They were sharing. They were sharing free food. We went to get our share.
You know, and mind you, Peabody, after you're in government, when you used to go to New York, I had to go for the phone here, right? I see them. I see the Kodiga brother, the Kodiga brother, and who? Vandela Pantry. Go there.
The boys.
I was seeing the guys going to spot there by the UN play there. I play a big catch my hair. The pope there. The kind of the protest. One of the prophecy. I'm gonna do that. I did that was the minister of going Eugene Zogano going. Is that women there? Yeah, hello. Your protest.
You see that was see that was part of the CDC problem, right?
But that's more. For the UN General, y'all go protest too.
Who coming?
JB come here next month for the UN General Assembly.
Well, when JB come here, when he comes here, if this particular case, if we don't hear anything that starts to at least let him expect something. So here's my thing, right?
You are protest leader. So you do. You got yellow machine case stay hanging you. You got the other dinner they declare all year stay hanging you. So you get to go protest for now.
But you making fun of it, but they can give results. That's what you know. The reason why I can't speak too much on this case, the people are still investigating this case. But when we got information on the case, this was not so much about Wani Komi's case, it was just a sexual harassment on Wani case. We're talking about real molestation that went on within the case, within the U.S., that the United States government had information. And that's why we were telling we are investigating this matter before you put this. You never listen to the ambassador power inherent in the people.
So
when I met had a problem, when I bought a problem with his daughter at the embassy there, what you did what you do?
So Tomalin, let me say something, and I think a lot of us, and I think a lot of us very often we misconstrue the idea of protest. All right, whoever posted put that's your problem. I don't care, but
so fine.
But yes, Tomalin, here's my thing, right?
Yeah.
The idea behind protest or peaceful assembly is not simply to get instantaneous result or reaction. It is to create awareness. Okay, like the case of Wani. Look what's happening today. She may not be the primary reason why the decision was made, but you can come to the realization that at some point it is being considered. All right, that would serve as a deterrent. So when you see people protesting, they don't expect to get result the next day. And that's why when people read out or present certain, it's called a petition. I am petitioning you to do that, so that hopefully this is not to establish some kind of disagreement with the government is based on hate. It's simply based
on you're beyond Jerusalem protest too, eh?
Well, yes,
He was there.
Yes. I did support the Johnson. Yes.
So they put it high. They put it high. Wait. The money happened to the Boga how the money. You are part of protest too?
That was that. You know, that protest at Barker's house. To be honest with you, if I had contact with anybody in the police, I would have begged them to go and pepper spray all of those who were standing over there protesting. Then seriously, look, whoever told you a leech shoot. Whoever told you President Barker came to office to award people who supported his job. The reason, did you listen to the justification for the assembly? It was because this KwaZulu guy, right? Because he supported President Barker, so he was not rewarded with a job. So they went to protest. What such a nonsense is that? If I had contact, I would spray them with pepper.
But what they didn't know is this, right? They appointed a national director of the road fund. But what happened is that the person that hold that position, in fact, the president should have been one that appointed the person. But the president, I think he was misled. So that position is appointed by the public works minister. So now they get a man a job, and the man said, no, President Barker, you should get a man a job. So since then now, they bear now because in all of them they want to chop in now.
To be honest with you, in defense of President Barker, he did not promise anybody a job to support him. He did not promise anybody.
No. He promised to get a Brempo job to create jobs.
Liberian, and based on your qualification.
Yeah, not appointed job. You didn't promise anybody.
He said Liberian people will get job based on their qualifications. So KwaZulu, who's a leech on government, been living on government, always been on government. This is one of many times I would thank Uncle Joe. Thank you so much.
Can I say something? No, Liberians, we this is a bad habit that when we support our government, or maybe we or part of the parties and stuff like that, when the person become president, then everybody expect to get. Everybody cannot get job in the government. Then the whole country will be working in the government. Then, I mean, who would be? It just.
For me, look, honestly, right? For me,
it's not fair to the president for them to do that.
To be honest with you, if I want to work in Liberian government, you want to be independent. You want somebody to be over your shoulder. So the best job to be go for elected position, because that one. Because you're appointed by somebody, you serve on the person's pleasure and the will. They fire you anytime tomorrow. You know.
Tomalin, as educated as this dude is, can he get another job in Liberia? Must he work in government?
But Lofa, first of all, Lofa, don't imagine that. How many people by the time the government the whole thing change? Let's be frank. So they can't do all government. Let's be frank. Look, that's why for me, somebody always remember you can't. And I said, first of all, man, you're not the president. I can't work with you. You're president. It can't be tomorrow. You can't leave all my operation. I can't go. No. So you want, because you go work Liberia now. Honestly, I don't have to support managing Liberia right now because I want Liberia for the shutdown. I go Liberia. I know
you have to stay with them for 6 months too.
You said the first thing, you go Liberia. I want to play where I can open the pond and shower come me. I'm playing AC. Oh yeah. So when you go Liberia, you all the things will be available for you. Then you get council, Genka, AC.
And that's why you join Liberia.
Well, you prepare to go Liberia. Prepare if we go there. When you go there, there's some people living there for.
The naked entourage that brought money.
I get.
I was scared. I said,
but Grace, yourself, you're already enjoying us. And all the journalists crew are behind Grace. All the crew.
But you see, but you won't go Liberia, honestly. So people are living Liberia, you might know how to survive in it. Because honestly, don't mind now when it kind of weekend, Friday come, you won't go to the Calabash or somewhere to some of this lounge and going to go chill. Yeah.
No, the brother, if you get some money, you can enjoy life there.
No, that country, surely, but how do you survive in that country? You gotta be stealing. Because you gotta take care of all the things.
No, but it's not the right thing to do, though.
It's wrong.
It's wrong.
It is wrong.
It's wrong. But that's why I like when somebody said you do performance lifestyle audit. It's good. Lifestyle audit is good. Yeah. Because if I enter office, the people, right? All the clothes that people wearing now, he knee on the clothes. People knee on the clothes.
Oh wow!
all the suit on he wear, he on the
So
suit.
you got your own. Wow, that's
Yeah,
good.
your own stuff then. So now, but see, if people go abroad now, he declare asset. If people say he got 200,000-300,000 in the bank, okay, fine. I think he comes to the government with money.
Yeah,
He's
he
like,
did even kind of
okay, fine. So now, few months after a year, as the people and chilling, it was on the BMW, the new series. I said, at least
where got the money from?
The bank say, well, my man, you want to come order my lifestyle? I'm available.
Yeah, I came with 300,000. Yeah, I came with this.
Chris, for example, you got children in school, going to college yet? Now, the children that you're struggling for in the country. The children, they better than better be career people. So my daughter want to be lawyer, I want to be doctor. Tomorrow, if I ain't my brother, they said, Daddy, I said I want one nice car. It's not for me. They don't want to pay car notes. They're going to buy a car and put on the shelves on me.
The man son creating your own app. That's what
yeah, and I pay money there.
The train, why they cost the bill like bro? Don't pay bills like bro because why the train not gonna live like bro you. Pay only 2-3 bedroom house. Suppose they building mansion. For what so you don't prove. Pay only 2-3 bedroom house.
They don't want to go there. They road mess up. Then they building mansion. How you? Oh Lord. Lola, bro, need a serious president.
No, but it start with the leadership, yeah.
I love the country and want the best for the country. And thank God they denying people to come to America. I'm sorry that they deny everybody because everybody don't deserve it. But they need to stay in like bro and fix the country. When you fix where you are, like the Ghanaians, they're fixing the country. You go to Ghana, I went to Ghana, I was amazed. They're fixing the country look nice. The people, they're constructing roads everywhere. I mean, they're building, they're maintaining their roads and stuff. The hospitals are up notch. I was in Mokola Market shopping with Black Americans. So they saw me in the news and said, oh, you, where state you from? Yeah, so they talking, they said, but you Ghanaian? I'm there from West Africa. But they knew I wasn't from there. You can see the difference, but still the people living good life. So if our people start to fix the country and the leadership come and fix the country for everybody to be able to stay in the country and live the life that want to live, like, bro, be a beautiful place because all the people that got money here in the States will want to go back home and invest their money into the society. You know, people will hire people. They need people to clean their yard, to do their lawn. They need people to do painting. So everybody will have some kind of way of employing other people within the economy. They will not depend on the government so much. Because when these people go there with all their money and their assets, you know, like tomorrow you Google his net worth, right now tomorrow you work and you have $1 million or maybe $1 million, you never know.
I claim it.
Yeah, so when he goes back, he can be able to hire people, you know, to service his
Let me tell you one phone, right? You know, and this what I'm about to say, it happened in all government, like previous government. So the best way to come to America most of the time is through the UN General Assembly. So right now, the president come here in September. So I saw a list on the weekend. The list alone, they put our come. Because what you can do for that, I think people will talk about it when I finish. Because they were in foreign service. So what they can do, they send a list to the foreign ministry. They'll send it to the embassy for process for visa to come to travel to the General Assembly. So that list alone now, they get the whole list. Plenty of people come on that list. But I tell you, have your friend say, look, I won't come for that UN General Assembly. So the list going. So one guy got to me and say, no one get it. Guess it. I come in America next month. I said, but you? I said, yeah. I'll be in New York. I said, but what is P? You people coming for the General Assembly. I said, but listen to me. Not because they say I'm both to the embassy to give visa. I said, they can. He said, oh, but you? I said, who told you? Because I said, government, right? Let us say go for on a trip. I said, they can deny you. She said, hey, man, it's for my deal. I said, oh, I'm telling you. You call that guy. The guy said, oh, wait a minute. I said, not because they say you on a trip for the General Assembly, their passport go to the embassy, you're not appearing. I said, it doesn't matter. A mission they picking who won't picking from maybe from Texas that the councilor there, he will just deny your he pack it, stay for a minute, you can't get it both back. He said, oh, I said, oh, that can happen you. Even the government passport, I said, can be 7 passports, I don't care. You be to the money for the pocket. They say, tomorrow you last, I said, oh, okay. This is just my towards the scene. They say, I said, I told y'all. So all you're not pack your list, so you can't come in September. when I say that they put one, they start stamping it. Yo, no. So I mean, again, it also used to be like that before Grace and Pee Wee. Back in the days, once you in government, you send most African came to the States today. You just send a cover letter, attach it to that document to the embassy.
You even gotta go to the embassy.
Everybody will get a visa to come. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, but I'm also told reliably that this delegation coming in, particularly first and foremost for the first line of representation, which is the Minister of Foreign Affairs, the minister have decided to bring along strategically assistant minister first for the sector areas. You know, for the UN General Assembly, we have 6 committees. Those committees will start from the political committee, the decolonization and political committee, the committee on finance, and all. Those 6 major committees will need to have representation from every country. And this country will sector from the finance committee, the finance area, the health area, peace and this and what have you, political affairs. So for the foreign ministry, you have the office of the minister is going to be represented, and maybe 2 major technical staff, maybe, I don't know. And then you have to have assistant minister for international organization, because the UN is one of the biggest international organization in the world. The UN, the assistant minister for international organization will come, the assistant minister of foreign affairs probably, then the assistant minister of American affairs, that's a sector area, it's in America.
I think not already. Already.
No, I'm saying
you just told me
these are the main people that we want to focus on. For instance, the assistant minister of foreign affairs, assistant minister of American affairs, assistant minister of international organization, deputy minister of foreign affairs, probably deputy minister of international cooperation, economic integration. The assistant minister of public affairs is very key. You have to something that on that. Now, before we used to do normally, those assistant ministers are coming so that will come with at least 1 or 2 technical staff. But this trip, what I'm told, only those assistant ministers will be coming for now. So I think the foreign minister is a little for now trying to structure the team in a way that they will meet, people will come and get the job done, and probably that's what I'm told. Now, from those other ministry and agency, I don't know the number that are going to be coming from now, how the number representation is going to be. If the information ministry is going to come, if the finance ministry, of course, will need to send representation, because I think on the second or third committee, they will have to do some representation to the UN, all those things. And then, but the president office highly represented, and that representation from the president office will come from strategic people. The protocol to the president, from the level of foreign minister, the chief of protocol of the republic will be the head of the representation process. It's the embodiment of our line of representation. Then the foreign minister is the main person in terms of the representation, because the president office will be represented. The security area, that will be the EPS and the rest of that. But this, but now even the last what do you call it? The CSW, right?
Yeah.
Last CSW before we left.
They played the Napo again.
They see what they did last year. Last CSW, the information is that you had close to 116 submitted.
Huh?
I think only 24 or 26 got visa.
Thank God.
From landline ministries and other agent institutions. Now, because the CS is a
Tomalin, we had
I'm talking about a major institution like the foreign ministry, the Ministry of States.
Guys, actually 7 more minutes over.
Okay, 7 minutes.
So basically that's the line. But again, we have to understand.
But one thing I want to clarify with you, at the foreign ministry, why we got two chief of protocol in Liberia? Why?
Okay. Then with the chief of protocol of the Republic of Liberia and the chief of protocol executive mansion. Now, yes, the chief of protocol executive mansion will handle all the presidential arrangement, make presidential trial arrangement, arrange basic visitation for the president. That person is responsible holistically to manage the president office and the president's schedule, both travel, meetings, and other arrangements. Executive mansion. Chief of protocol Republic of Liberia.
Who is the president right now?
The chief of protocol Republic of Liberia. I don't know who the name of.
Nyenwolo.
I'm sorry. I'm my own Anthony Nyenwolo. Sorry. Okay. Anthony Nyenwolo, the former deputy chief of protocol, is now the current chief of protocol. She served in our ministry for a very long time. So she is the current chief of protocol Republic of Liberia. So the chief of protocol, that we call him chief of protocol Republic of Liberia and chief of protocol executive mansion. So the chief of protocol Republic of Liberia is high in rank. But again, the chief of protocol executive mansion can always have the powers because that person is within the proximity of the presidency. You understand the point? So if that person can normally use the power of the president to get very
I
powerful.
feel what the guy J. Adolphus doing.
Yeah, to get when J. Adolphus During was the chief of protocol at the time, what he did, he shadowed.
Adolphus who?
Adolphus During. He was a very
No, I don't know him.
He had a church from
Where
Lofa Julius was born.
Where is it?
Your mother work at the mansion.
For
Your
2
mother.
years, so I would know everybody that was working there.
Oh, great. During you know during what?
No, I don't
He
know.
was
I
the
know-
older chief of protocol.
My mom, closest friend was how they call it. He said,
That guy was
He was the older chief of protocol that shadow.
Yes.
And the chief of protocol of the executive mansion. Because he
Council
knew
of
the act.
Bay.
They have a
He
good
did
boy.
act. Yeah, he was a consummate professional.
You are professional, man.
And he was endowed with the quality and the
That's what
competency.
J. Adolphus During.
All those
Very
things.
good, right? Mr.
Good.
Slooper. all the
Good
people.
Robert was SS man. SS boss.
Yeah,
And the man when the man introduced President Doe.
Yeah.
He was gifted with it.
He said, yeah.
Was
It is my I'm pleasing
Flans, Hamilton.
Come to you, His Excellency.
It was good. Imagine Taylor kept him.
Yeah, Taylor kept him too, yeah.
He was very good. He was
good.
Very good, smart old man. And beyond him being adequate in his act, he was a very consummate diplomat, and he understood diplomacy very well. He could read the mood of the leaders. When he knew that the president is not in the mood in a program, he was studying that mood, and you do something that way, you rub that leader. So
That's true, yes.
He was very cool. He knew everything about it. He knew.
Yeah, Ben. That's what he said. He was the puppet. Yeah, that's true, Ben.
Yes.
Yeah, during really cool the puppet. That's true, the puppet.
Yeah. So he was extremely good.
What was during?
It was good. Yeah. May his soul rest in peace. It was good. Yeah. But say he left. I didn't see a team of protocol that would already catch us when he take to the protocol. Another person that came by had a tune also like him, Patrick Kennedy, Ambassador Kennedy also had a tune. You know, the office of the chief of protocol. It's a great office, but now currently we have Nyenwolo. She's good. She understands the terrain, and other people learn through Ambassador During, right? So I mean, she's there to show that. But the order of precedence, you need to understand the order of precedence and follow those lines. Yeah, so it's important.
We had a great show today. Let us get our parting comments. For me, I'll start first. Tomorrow again, Lofa Julius. I hope you attend the program tomorrow at the show. The man from the LTA, the point man will be our guest talking about IT tomorrow. Mr. Wanyi Zawi be talking about the 10,000 students that launched by President Bwaka for the students and the IT program. We'll be telling us more about that program. That's a good program to make sure our students are to get technological knowledge before they leave high school. Everybody can have access to know how to work on a computer. That's the goal.
That's supposed to be. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, by the time they graduate from high school, everybody don't have access to the computer. They see, like for me right now, my children, my daughter, when I get my phone, they can show me how to use the phone. They say I bought, they buy our phone. I bought it now. They can tell me everything now. I don't know how to even scan my phone to download. Somebody show me. I said, so. But tomorrow we'll have the guy here. And then tomorrow, and then I'm sorry we don't have time to talk about Minister McGill. A letter he wrote today withdrawing his prohibition from the Supreme Court.
Right.
I hope tomorrow we'll touch on it. We got time.
He did it right thing. Well,
we'll see what happens. We'll find out why he withdrew his the prohibition from the Supreme Court. And also, I heard Lofa talking about a letter from the Ghana bank. Ghana put not clarify. Lofa, they put clarify it.
What is it?
What is it? Did they say the money was not saved there?
They had Central Bank being inactive for a long time, since 2004. So Lofa, hey man.
But remember I said it on the show.
Yeah, Lofa, you were talking about say they put the money.
Yeah, but that's the sticking part. Yes, because Tomalin. So Tomalin, because it's been happening since my birth. Don't make it right. Let's look at.
No, it's right. That's a problem.
Let's look at. Hold on a second. Let's look at the legal aspect of it, and then we can make that conclusion. just because they've been doing it since the independence of Liberia, don't make it right. So this tells you the failure on the part. Again, you can't defend President Boycott in this case. Tomalin. So here's my point, right? My point of contention here is, why are we simply just presenting ourselves as, victims, or we are so vulnerable? Can we capacitate ourselves to the point where we can do these things? We have been in existence for 177 years. You telling me why are we still depending on Ghana?
We're not depending on them. When the money is in transit, it will lend it.
Exactly. Here's the thing here. The reason why. The reason why I don't want to prolong the show, but you know the reason why the money was in transit and it had to stay there.
Yes.
Because your aviation authority was so much fraud that we could not have that transit point where that money could actually be used to some kind of
let me go quickly. Okay. When the money is coming, some of the money will also come into Ghana. But they will lend in Ghana, and there's another plane that will just be the money.
Exactly.
Because for the avoidance of that, the Bank of Ghana has a long-standing currency transfer agreement with the Central Bank of Liberia.
It is.
Since 2004. And per this agreement, the Bank of Ghana receives imported currency on behalf of the Central Bank of Liberia for re-export to Monrovia. That the said uncirculated bank notes mentioned in the social media discussion on August 20th are part of this long-standing arrangement. When all logistical arrangements, including scheduled flights, are finalized, these will be re-exported to the Central Bank of Liberia.
That tells you the fail again. There's no way you can escape the reality here. The reality here is that we are dead backward in everything that we have been doing, and we continue to be backward in everything that we do. You can't convince me on that part, Peewee. That is the reality. Peewee, let me close.
Can we close?
Your closing statement.
Tomorrow, it did not pray. Nova say you get back on his stage.
In my closing statement, right? I want to make clarity on something here. Somebody said, Lofa, you contradict yourself when you said President Boycott promised people that he will create job. Yes, job creation for everybody. That means he will encourage entrepreneurs. He will encourage private investors to come in the country so that every Liberian who are skilled, qualified Liberians can be employed. All right. He did not promise anybody that he will appoint you to a job. So when I made that statement, when I made that statement, yeah, he did not promise any one of you that he will appoint you to a job. So for you to gather these young people and put them in the streets to disturb the peace of the community just because you want a job, because you're a leech, it tells me the kind of person you are. And I want to applaud President Boycott. If he did not give you a job and he intends not to give you a job, that is a good thing, because you guys have literally just messed up the entire system where everybody think that they should support these political leaders or these politicians in order for them to get jobs. And that is not how things are supposed to be done. So thank you, President Boycott, for that decision to not employ him. And if you don't employ him, you have my prayer to continuously prove to these young people that they don't have to be leached on the government for the rest of their life. Go find job in the private sector and be independent in your mind and thoughts. Thank you.
I'll do tomorrow.
So I would just say, Jessica, Richard, Lucas Richard, the guy who married the girl that was in Liberia, tried to rape her through. She did not get justice. Today, we cannot say Shallow Musu got justice, and we cannot say what happened for the removal of Gloria Musu was wrong, because we don't know that case. Nobody can. The case was not prosecuted well, contaminated evidence and everything. So then we'll say that again, Shallow Musu did not get justice. We're hoping that Gloria Mususka will seek justice for her daughter since she's out now. We will say again, Princess Cooper did not get justice. and so many other. Odell Sherman did not get justice, and so many other little young boys and girls and women and men just cannot get justice in a country that's supposed to give them justice.
Amen.
We praying and hoping that one day the judicial system of Liberia will serve his people right.
Amen. Amen. Okay, guys, tomorrow, digital day. That comes for the digital program.
Yeah, let me quickly close. For me, I would say good night to everybody. We would love to see the country move on. The justice system is, and as we can see, the justice should be for all men. We need to push the country because it's part of. And I can remember Culture One said, he said he don't want no peace. Yeah, one of his sons I love to listen to. He said he don't want no peace. He don't want nothing. The only thing he want to see is equal right and justice. And the reason why he said that he don't want peace, he want equal right and justice, because when there's equal right and justice, there will be peace. So, you know, the regular guy, it sounded very philosophical, right? So if there's equal right and justice, we'll promote peace. So basically, that's one of the things we need to push through. And we look forward to this year, UN General Assembly. We need to know the outcome. I hear now finally that the president has now removed the guy that heading this war crime court thing because of the massacre.
Oh, yeah, tomorrow we'll talk more what I want. I got something what I want. We'll talk about tomorrow.
Yes, I'm coming to the UN.
We're not happy, but we'll talk it tomorrow.
Yeah, the 80th UN General Assembly. I don't know the theme of this team this year, so we hope to see what the Liberian government will say and what the president will say on our behalf in moving the country forward. The democracy is on course. We need to allow everyone to have the peace and all that thing. The ECOWAS delegation says something very key, and I think it's important that we all emphasize on what the ECOWAS delegation says so that we can move for those things. Peace be unto the country. The democracy is on course, and that's the essence of democracy. And that's what we told people at Lofa yesterday. Yesterday we all talk about is today. So we need to move and get the things done.
That's Peabody in the back pointing.
When they give you Maldini.
In the back doing it, and then you will come blame Lofa for doing something. Like he would do it and then put his hands off. You see?
Yeah.
I know he's doing it.
See you guys tomorrow.
So that's it. Good night.
All right.
If I spend my Peabody, I'm not spending my Peabody that way.
See, that's Peabody. See? I mean,
okay, guys.
All right, guys. Good night.